what? My
between
from my
wallets. You could own
whose
two wallets. You any wallet. I mean, it doesn't like say like you could have two wallets and you just transferred hex from one wallet to another wallet. You could have like
oh
given
I
that hex to
see.
somebody,
Okay.
like, and
Okay.
then later on, like down the way, it says buys and sells, and those are actual like on-chain exchanges
All right.
in a DEX.
Then it says new stakes 695 for 17 million. That was for the day in the past 24 hours.
Yeah.
Then ended what? Stakes ended
And yes.
299 for 12 million. Okay.
Yes.
Then purchased. What's purchased? Of Hex or
You
purchase?
bought hex. Somebody
Okay.
bought hex. Well, many people bought
Of
hex.
course, for a total of 1.91 million.
I'm gonna
Then it,
assume, I'm going to assume the purchase means through the Staker app, because otherwise I don't know how it would know what was purchased.
Well, I mean, it could reference the Uniswap and the other dexes on chain. I mean, it's
or
all
is that
available
all?
information.
I think that would
Is
probably be
that,
under the transfer. No.
No, but you can differentiate between a Uniswap contract and a public address very easily because the contracts for Uniswap. So it would be really easy to say these are the on-chain swaps, and then these are public addresses, and then you can differentiate it. I mean, those guys are smart and they can easily do that.
so where it says sold 438, what was sold? Not 438. What does 438 mean? For 1.7 million. 1.79 million.
Yeah, those are wallet addresses. I think those are it's a dollar amount, and then like instances of individual cells. I guess
Well,
that's
you
how I
guess.
read it
What?
anyway.
So you
I'm
don't
just
know.
guessing that. Well, I mean, okay, we can ask Steph.
No, I was just wondering
Yeah, I don't
because
know,
you
man.
guys, you've been on here
I gotta
for
I gotta
50
infer this
years.
stuff a
I
little
just
bit.
came on a couple of months ago, you know what I mean? So I'm looking at this and I'm trying to figure out what does that mean? And then when you come down to accounted 2.52K, what does that mean?
I mean, I believe that's individual instances of that function being done, and then the dollar amount associated with that on chain.
You know what? I think you're probably right about the purchased and the sold. They can probably just look at Uniswap and look at the anything is traded with another coin like USDC or something, right?
But you
Possibly.
say purchase means they purchase Hex with all different kind of coins, making it a million one nine 1.9 million.
Yes, because the they can see the hex that's either bought or sold through the router contract on Uniswap in the liquidity pools that are on Uniswap. I mean, those are publicly available contracts. You just write that in, and then now you're querying those contracts and that data. Like I can't write the code, but like conceptually, I can understand what they're doing.
All right, I was just wondering because I looked at that and I said, "Geez, what does that mean?" You know.
You know that transferred must just be a generic transferred like anything, like buys, sells, stakes, and stakes. I think it just means everything. If
Yeah,
you
I
start
mean,
adding
like
double numbers,
if
it
ERC20
adds up
token
to
is in
about
a Uniswap,
39
it's just
mil.
transfer, right? I mean, it's transferred to any public address, which is different than a contract address.
So
Yeah,
are you
I can see
saying
that.
if I sent somebody 1,000 hex, it would go into that transferred area.
Yes.
Okay.
I think
All
the
right.
transfer area includes end stakes, beginning of stakes, buys and sells. I think it includes everything.
I know.
Because
I think you can filter those out because they have the separate buckets. Because otherwise, the transferred would be like have everything added together. If it was all, so you have it technically transferred to a contract, and then they can filter out the ones that are buys, the ones that are sells, the ones that are end stakes, the ones that are stakes, and then into the different buckets. And then whatever's left behind would be left in the transfer bucket. That's what I think they're doing, without looking at their code.
But if you look at the numbers, right? It's like, I'm not looking at it right now, but it's like 35 million transferred. I can't believe that 35 million is just randomly transferred on a day. Yet, the end stakes and stakes are like 17 million and 12 million, right? But if you add up all the numbers, the 17 plus the 12, okay, now we're at 29, plus the 1.9 and the 1.7, it's getting really close to that 35 mil number, right? So I think,
yeah, I'm looking at it myself, so that might be the case. Because I'm looking at it, because that would be the case, right? Without even looking at it, I was like, well, they would have to add up to that number for that to be the case. And that may be the case because I just looked at it.
and then whatever the difference is just regular transfers, whatever it doesn't add up to.
And then where it
Sure.
says ended, that means 300 stakes ended within the 24-hour period for 12.2 million. Then you go down and the purchase. So people purchased in the last 24 hours 1.9 million, and then sold 438. What? People wallets sold 438 people sold for 1,779,79.
Yeah, I think that's what that means. So basically, in the last 24 hours, we purchased an extra 100,000 compared to what we sold.
Okay, that sounds, yeah, okay. Thank you much.
The number that I really like is that total amount of hex that just takes up every day. Makes me feel good. It's like, oh, I just got more hex today. That's pretty awesome. I mean, it's only in it goes to one decimal, so it isn't like it actually tokes over every day. I'm not like fucking Godwell, but like every once in a while, it'll tick over from like a 0.1 to like a 0.2, and it's like, oh, that's pretty sweet. Like I still wish that, I mean, like most people do, that like I put in the AA the first 2 months, and then I stopped putting into the AA after like 60 days, and I'm like, oh my god, that was like a terrible decision. I should have continued DCAing in for like the entire time. But you only, after the fact, right? Kick yourself in the ass.
Yeah, it's like me saying yesterday I bought at 6 something. I said, oh, I better just buy a little and then maybe it'll go down more. Now it went up. You never could beat the system. So I should have just got it yesterday and forgot about it. But no, we all think we should have done something different.
Yeah, I mean, so like I literally was doing it like every paycheck. It's like $100, maybe $200. Every time I get paid, I just put into Hex. And like my only regret is I just didn't keep doing that for the next 6 months, and until today, basically.
Well, you're on here every day, so many hours a day. I don't know how you could work.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. It doesn't feel like work. I'm actually literally walking with my son from the park, so it can't. It's not that stressful. But I'm in here so often they decided to put me to work to like try and clear out some of the stuff in a couple of chats. So eventually, right? If you hang out long enough to store, maybe they throw you a smock and tell you to start ringing people up. It's like my first job I ever had was it was at a bookstore. I just spent so much time at the bookstore. They decided that like they just should just hire me, and then you know, and then then I can get paid hanging out at the bookstore when I was like 17 or something.
You know, it's funny you mentioned books, comma. When I read books, I envision what people look like in the books. You know, of course, everybody's different. And I've listened to Mando's voice on here for 7 months, and it sounds exactly like Alan Arkin. So the other day I watched him on a YouTube, Mandalorian, and he's not Alan Arkin at all.
Yeah. And so like Mando, Walrus, like I was like, oh, yeah, it didn't look like they didn't look like I thought they would look like at all. I was like, okay, that's fine. I think it was just
Sorry to
they did
disappoint.
some stuff.
Sorry to disappoint.
No, it's funny because you hear people's voice like he's saying, and then you kind of have like a mental picture, and you're like, I don't know. And then there was the Hex conference, and then there was like a panel, and I was like, oh, okay, I got you.
That's what Walrus Mandalorian looks like.
I look like.
Now I can picture Mando being on The Sopranos.
Yeah, well, that is the heritage, brother. My family's from Palermo, Sicily. Das Bomb. What does he look like?
Yeah, I don't know. I lived in Germany for 3 years, and so like I don't know. Yeah, I can picture like some random German dude that I saw and go, yeah, maybe Dross Mom looks like that. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Kind of
Dark
like the
hair.
The world may never know.
True. It's all very mysterious.
Das Bomb. He's got a good tan and he's got a good head of dark hair. Am I right?
What? 10. I'm sitting inside all day.
Oh God! So you're the exact opposite. See, that's what I mean, man. I see Doc on the beach, tan as hell, with a Corona in his hand. All the ladies freaking staring at him and playing with his dark, perfect hair. Everyone saw me. They're like, "Bro, you got blue eyes and you're freaking bald, bro." Like, didn't see that one coming. Is Doss like rugged right now, trying to say something? Because I don't hear him.
No, I'm hardware muted.
What about this Hex, man? Almost 8 cents again. We've got about between now and about the 5th or 6th of June, we got some pretty good end stakes coming up. So there might be an opportunity to catch another dip. Kind of smooth sailing after that for a little bit. But I've been on Twitter the last 48 hours looking at just all kinds of the engagement Richard's getting all over the place. And it's just amazing, man. Like it or not, all of his car, Playboy, shopping, PP, rage marketing is working. It's pissing off the industry. Like they want Hex to fail so bad. And it's just not. It's been
what I like seeing is people with equal amount of followers and they get like 0 engagement. And then Richard just comes in and just blows them out of the water with his like likes and whatever. And then he calls them out on it. I'm like, So how many followers did you buy? It's hilarious.
It really is.
I mean, I have like 800 followers, and I get more engagement with my Hex tweets than some of these dudes who have like 100,000 followers. It's hilarious, actually.
Well, it actually just shows that they don't have real followers. You can't have
Well,
100,000 followers and get freaking 10 likes on a tweet, dude. That's just stupid.
True. I mean, I get 10 likes on a tweet. I'm like, awesome. But then, like, literally, like, I have like 800, like almost 800 followers on Twitter. So it's like a little bitty tweeter.
What's your Twitter handle, Gamma?
Yeah, it's Euler_constant. It's the same as my username on everything. Reddit, Twitter, Telegram. I mean, I spend almost as much time on Twitter than I do on Telegram. Almost, not quite as much. Although I am laying low for the next couple of days, by the way, on Telegram or on Twitter.
All right, I just gave you a follow, man. Follow me back, brother.
Alrighty, I will.
Appreciate it. Profex, you're on Twitter too, right?
Yeah, he is. I think I'm following him on Twitter.
Went and took my boy to see Top Gun last night. It's freaking awesome, man, that movie.
Oh, I'm gonna go Tuesday. My 11-year-old. I'm gonna bring my 11-year-old, and we're gonna go to lunch and watch it.
It is a great, man. It is a great movie to take your kid. It takes you back to the good old days, man, when Hollywood was real and, you know, before all the BS in the world. It was really fun to watch it. I'm gonna actually go watch it again with my pops. Great movie.
I was watching a little clip where they said all the actual footage of the fighter pilots, the actors in the planes, was all live footage, and they did it in such a way. So I was like, well, that's fucking awesome, because that's Tom Cruise right there. He doesn't go halfway; he goes all the way.
No, the cinematography or whatever you call it, I just was just blown away. There's portions of that film with the jets that you couldn't even believe it, bro, what they were doing with it. And these are real. These aren't like fake CGI. These are jets doing what they really do. There's some 5th generation jets in there doing moves that like you couldn't even believe, bro.
Hey,
Just
it's
amazing.
a big appetite for the DoD, man. They couldn't help themselves but to give technical cooperation.
Whatever.
I mean,
It was just amazing, man. Just amazing watching these things.
Was it really good, Mando?
Top tier, like put tears in my eyes, bro. Taking me back to the good old days, man. Just amazing. And Jennifer Connelly's in it. I've been in love with her since Labyrinth. She's just gorgeous.
Oh, Labyrinth, Once Upon a Time in America.
That's a classic right there.
Yeah, she's just beautiful. Gorgeous.
Yeah, Tom Cruise was like 17 or something at that time. That was way back.
Yeah, don't give me any spoilers, but I'm happy they decided to include Val Kilmer in it because he's had a rough break with his health these past few years.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he lost his voice to throat cancer, right? And then they gave him back his voice synthetically for the movie, and now he's got this thing so he can speak in his real voice, which is pretty awesome. I read that a few months ago, I guess.
You take voice samples from all his old movies and synthetically generate language via AI. And that's probably what they did. And they can fine tune it to the level of, like deep fake. So I'm sure that's the technology they incorporated for some of his scenes.
Well, for sure. And then what I liked was they actually gave him the technology in a way that he could use it in his daily life, which is just fucking awesome.
I felt it was a tough break for what he went through. And I don't think he was ever a big smoker either. And that was surprising that he got that throat cancer.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you'll hear people who never smoked the day of their life get lung cancer. So, I mean, it happens, right?
Oh, right. I know. My wife was friends with Christopher Reeve, Superman's wife, Dana Reeve, and she died of cancer and never smoked a day in her life. But she did perform a lot of shows inside of cabarets and nightclubs over the years, and she reckons secondhand smoke got to her.
Well, they say I used to smoke, quit for a couple of years, but as I was in the process of quitting for 3 years, and my doctor always told me that it's actually worse to be an occasional smoker because your body, and he broke it down. I can't even repeat I don't even know how to explain it, but basically your body gets an immunity to it inside your lungs when you smoke every day. But when you're an occasional smoker, and I know that for some of his roles, he would smoke. So, maybe it was that, that the occasional smoking is actually worse than smoking every day.
I'm gonna tell you something your boys might not want to hear. Ray Liotta died from sucking too much dick. It had nothing to do with throat cancer. I've seen the fucking guy in the Palm Beach Outlet Mall before, and he had eyeliner on. I'm not even fucking kidding.
Oh, we're not talking about Ray Liotta.
Yeah, come on, man. You don't gotta come in here saying stuff like that, bro.
Came out of nowhere.
We're talking about Val Kilmer, man. Which Val Kilmer is
my apologies.
He's an absolute legend. Absolute legend.
Kiss, kiss, bang, bang.
That was good, and so was The Saint. And I had always hoped he'd have made a sequel to the Saint movie when he did that in '97. I love that movie.
Good one.
Doc
Absolutely
Holliday.
agree, Harvey.
Doc Holliday.
Doc Holliday.
That is the ultimate, bro.
Yep, absolutely.
He was just too twisted up.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
I'll be your Huckleberry. Poor Johnny was just a little wired too tight.
That's one of the greatest freaking movies of all time, dude.
And Johnny Ringo was a real character. I mean, most people don't understand that shit was all for real. They thought it was some made up shit with Powers Booth and the Cowboys and stuff. It wasn't. Those were real historical characters. But Michael Biehn also did a great job for portraying Johnny Ringo's character to the T, because he was a vicious fuck if you read about him.
We had Hex trending yesterday on the front page. The news articles. It was both on iPhone and it was on my Samsung too. If I just swiped right from my homepage, so I'm just going through Twitter right now. Literally every post I see, I'm just doing hashtag Hex and then $Hex.
Hey, Mandalorian, thanks for that update about Top Gun. I hadn't spoken to anyone that saw it yet, and I'll take my wife to it tonight. She wants to see it big time.
I got a quick question for Gamma, Mondo, one of you guys, anybody, I guess really, but I've tried to, with the price of Hex dropping, I've tried to just stay low because I'm new to crypto, as I've said multiple times, so I'm trying to control my emotions, ride this out, and not, and in another couple weeks I'll have a little bit more. Hopefully it stays low so I can get more, but obviously it's dumping because of the delay and people getting out because of the delay. So I just wanted to see if there was any updates from the devs on what they're working on and what might be going on in the development for Pulse.
Well, depending on what hour of the day you come into the chat usually, and I'm in here all hours, a lot of the regulars are as well. There was a big talk last night about theoretical situations, and it all boils down to Richard is not launching it until Richard is ready, and he's come this far. And what's a couple weeks, a couple months? Most of us have been involved on the sacrifice level since last July. So it's, a question of hours, days, weeks. So, people got to get off the fast food mentality when it comes to investment, because sometimes you do have to wait, and to the victors goes the spoils,
Yeah, and I'm totally good with that, and I've been telling my family and friends that I'm getting into it, hey, just be patient. It's better to wait because he's making sure that there's no bugs in the system, that everything's right, and that's what we want. Plus, it gives us more time to get some more dry powder, especially for none of us are whales, none of us are rich, so gives us hopefully another month or two we can get some more dry powder to get in, right at launch, and so I'm good with it. I just was curious, if there was any kind of word out there on, from the development community. That's all I was asking.
I mean, Richard, when he gave that mid-May prognostication, he was given the information that he had at the times from the devs, and there's certainly a lot of people that are in here that know much more deeply because of the confidential and proprietary nature of the work they're doing, what's going on. And when he has solid information, he's always been forward about it with the entire community. So on that level, I'm pretty confident. I mean, granted, I did sacrifice a large portion of my Hex for the sacrifice last year and again around Christmas time. So I'm not worried about it. Not at all.
I was gonna say, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I had to come back in or whatever. But like literally, like I'm as plugged in as you can get, and everything is going through Richard. Like the devs don't say anything. We are just waiting for Richard to say like the update. So we just have to wait.
I'm good with waiting. I'm looking at the liquidity pools right now, and all we need is 2 more cents. And freaking, there's no liquidity hardly between 10 and 18 cents on Uniswap on both those pools over there. We just freaking shoot right back up to 18 cents if we get another 2 cents in.
Another thing to JPulse, it's important to clarify when you say that the hex price is dipping because of the quote delay. It's not really a delay that's causing the price to dip. It's the entire market. There might be a little bit of that in there, but it's just probably important to tell your onboards and people around you that it's just look at the market in general. I mean, everything's down.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that. I do agree with the market being down. That adds to it, but I mean, the second he said Pulsechain isn't launching this month, we had a massive sell-off. People were waiting for the copies. So the good thing is that's shaking out the people who really didn't care about Hex too much. Like, they were just there to get a quick buck or whatnot, right? The real holders are holding now and accumulating now. But there's no question that, Pulsechain not launching has shaken people out, unfortunately, because Hex is going to go to new all-time highs. So,
yeah.
yeah,
I guess I was just thinking it's not the entirety of why Hex is going down. You know what I mean? Like, that shouldn't be the entire narrative, but you're right. I mean, that definitely played a role. I mean, you're right. As soon as he announced that, we saw it dropping.
I mean, like literally within minutes.
Yeah, good point, Mando.
Hey, Mando, do you think that from all-time high, once we achieve that, it's possible for Hex to do a 10x from there up to $5? I know it's a completely like, yeah, I got the magic ball for sure. But what do you think?
Yeah. So if let me just answer it in the way I'm going to answer it, and it's just my answer. I think Hex could end up at $100 a token. Okay, like it could go higher than that. People don't understand the nature of Hex. There's no cap for Hex. Okay, like the fact that it can go to 50 cents once it goes back to its all-time high, what stops it from going another 100x? It's just time and adoption and trust in the markets. You can't stop it. You can't shut it down. You can only call it a scam for so long. What are they going to be calling it a scam 10 years from now? People are still calling Bitcoin a scam. Right? So
Exactly, man.
when you look at how Hex works and how the code works and how T-shares work and how it continuously gets harder and harder and harder to mint new Hex over time, it mimics the exact same thing as the Bitcoin halvenings. Every 4 years, Bitcoin halvening takes place and the price of Bitcoin skyrockets. The T-shares mimic that exact thing, just in a little bit of a different mechanism, right? That's why Richard always says Hex is just very similar to Bitcoin with a proof of work change. It's just an improvement on Bitcoin. People don't like that. They don't like to hear that. That rocks the apple cart. That's literally like taking a sledgehammer to the chief cornerstone of the crypto foundation. That's why Richard's so hated, because he went and he looked at Bitcoin. Originally, it was called Bitcoin Hex. And he said, how can I look at this amazing thing Nakamoto built and improve upon it? And Hex was born. And that's why Hex is so hated. On top of the fact that Richard is an individual that is smarter than most and is not afraid of anything. When you take somebody like revolutionaries are always defined by a couple different things. They're smarter than most, they're savvier than most, and they don't fear anything. When you have somebody that doesn't fear stuff, they can pretty much do anything that they want because they just don't have a fear switch. And so he's just continuously being attacked. I think that even the Hexican community takes all this FUD and everything and ingests it, and it makes them that FUD and those, it's a scam and all these things overrides the reality of the code. You always just have to go back to the design of Hex and how Hex is created. Technically, Bitcoin can go to zero. Technically, Ethereum can go to zero, right? They can. So it's all about user adoption. And every single year that Hex continues to do new all-time highs or continues to just do what it's doing, it becomes more and more trusted, and the naysayers' voices become less and less and less and less powerful while he continues to prove all those people who call him a scam. It's so funny because the large majority of the individuals who call him a scammer are end up being scammers themselves, right? So yeah, there is no top. There is no like top price god that can, you know, top Hex out. And I was just looking at the wallets for Hex, and it's so freaking early. It's so early for Hex. Hex to me is just this is the same thing as getting into Bitcoin, you know, at, well, I mean, it did almost a 7 million X. Imagine it doing, and I'm not trying to compare it to Bitcoin. I'm just saying that we don't know what Hex is going to do. But to say, can Hex do a 10X from 50 cents or from a new all-time high? Abso-fucking-lutely.
Hey, Mando. So there's a tweet that compared Bitcoin's adoption or price to Hex's price, and it actually looked at our current price at around the $150 mark for Bitcoin, and then it shows that progression. Right? It's my Twitter feed. You can look at it there. It was pretty interesting.
Nice. And I was sitting here with all the you know,
Threw it
price
up in
action stuff
Twitter
going
and
on,
main chain.
with all the price action stuff going on recently, and it dropped into 3.4 cents. I was going, oh, I got in it. My cost basis is 13.4 cents. I was thinking, I wish I had some dry powder when it went down to freaking 3.4, but I didn't. But so I was thinking in my head, oh, I bought too high, and here it is. I got 13.4 cents total cost basis, which 2 years from now I'll be going, oh, you won't even be able to see that on the price chart. It'll be so small. Like all the price action going on now. 2 or 3 years from now, you'll have to freaking zoom way in to even see it.
And guys, this is true Pulsechain fork where you're going to get a double at these prices.
You know, you were talking about what's the hypothetical price of Hex into the future. And with this price comparison I just referenced, where it showed the current price with this huge dip showing like comparisons like $150 Bitcoin, say like the next all-time high of Bitcoin would put Hex at $13 maybe. And then the next after that, which is 8 years from now or whatever, would put Hex at like $60. And these are all just like, you know, obviously made up projections, just comparing Hex's current adoption and price chart to Bitcoin's price chart over the last, 13 years or whatever. But it should take a while to make it there, which is obvious, right?
Yeah, my point, just the question was, how many X's can it do from a new all-time high? And it's, how many X's did Bitcoin do? How many X's did Ethereum do? How many X's and it's, I would imagine that after Pulsechain launches and there's more and more credibility built up and more trust, because here's the truth, guys. In the crypto world, like there's only more people coming into crypto every single month. In a down market, that might slow down a little bit because people get scared out. But then as that retraces and goes back up, you just have a whole nother cycle of people that are already in or were already in and they want back in, and then there's new users. But as Hex continues to just do what it does, it's going to become self-evident that it was treated very similar to Bitcoin or Ethereum that were called scams. And then all of a sudden one day you wake up and it's just an accepted crypto that everybody trusts now. So I think that with Pulsechain, the issue, the biggest issue is that Richard doesn't act and look and talk like the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, which is, it seems to be like a lot of people outside of the Hexican community. That's the persona that they want. That's kind of like what Rockham Overwatch was tweeting before he got exposed or whatever, with all that stuff. But look, it doesn't matter. Like the most revolutionary, world-changing people of history, for the most part, are very smart and are hated because they rock the apple cart. You know, they take the sledgehammer to the cornerstone of the temple. That's what Richard's been doing. But everything that he's been saying has been proven to be correct, like a prophet, like an oracle in a way. And I'm not saying he's a freaking prophet. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that he looks at what's going on in the world. He's very smart. He says this is what's wrong, and then it's proven to be wrong in almost every single thing he says. So it's just exciting to watch Hex go down to these levels. But it's funny because the rest of the industry wants to pinpoint, see, Hex is down 85%, Hex is down. Well, so are all the top 30 cryptos in the world, down 65 to 91%. But Hex is doing it totally gatekept on almost no exchanges, paying out more yield trustlessly than any crypto in the world, which actually puts more sell pressure on the cryptocurrency. So how is Hex not outperforming everything? Honestly, like come in here and just, how is Hex actually not outperforming the rest of the cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, Mondo, you mentioned, the persona or perception of Richard Hart, outside of the Hex community, and even some in the community. Even in this room, a couple people like Top Cat and others have been super critical of, bringing FUD in here on Richard Hart. But if you look at history, like forget crypto, if you just look at history, any historical figure that created some sort of a revolution or made a serious impact, 9 times out of 10 they were highly controversial people, right? They were highly controversial. They did something that was not accepted in the normal and sense of things. And so while would I love Richard Hart to be a little cleaner around the edges? Sure. But I've told everybody, all my family members, friends that I'm trying to onboard, look, put that aside. Look at the heart of what he's doing. No pun intended. Look at forget all the comments that maybe you don't like, and look at the heart of the man and what he's trying to actually provide to people. He's doing good things. He actually cares about his community. He cares about us. He wants us all to succeed. And that's what really matters to me, and I think that's why all these people that are successful in crypto and successful with other things, that's why they give him shit. That's why they try to gatekeep him and gatekeep Hex and in turn Pulse, because they're in it for themselves. He's not, and he's different.
Well, I think that it's really, imagine you're Richard, right? And you are who you are. Like, you like girls, you like sex, you like Red Bulls, you like nice things, you're super smart, you've done a lot of things to change the world, you've traveled all over the place. You are who you are as a human being. Maybe you're not religious, maybe you're not conservative, you just are who you are. You can't hate a person for being just who they intrinsically are. You might not like certain things about them, but that says absolutely nothing about the things that they build. And people need to stop merging the two. You can't ask somebody to be someone than who they actually really are. And to be honest with you, if you could, would you really want to? I mean, it just, in a world where light is dark, up is down, males are females, females are males. I mean, in a world where everything goes, why would you ask a Richard Hart to be somebody than who he is, as long as he's building amazing things? If you don't like the outlandish pee-pee talk or I get it, but that doesn't do anything to diminish the things he's designing and building with his brains. That's why people have to stop and they have to compartmentalize what's actually happening here and stop being emotional bitches. If you only want a pastor in chief, conservative, by the book, individual that never does anything wrong and is almost like a mimic of Jesus almost, then only invest in cryptos where you can find a person like that. And then 2 years down the road, they were molesting somebody, or they beat their wife, or they cheated on their husband, or whatever the heck it is, right? So this idealistic bullshit, to me, it really just needs to stop. I mean, look at all these scams out here in crypto. The fact that Luna just rugged on its entire community, and they're calling Hex a scam and Richard a scam, and then the entire crypto space is like, oh, we're going to go for Luna 2.0 and we're going to support that. Every exchange is going to support that. Awesome. I get it, but how hypocritical is it? Let's just give Richard a break. Let's just allow Richard Hart to be who he is. Like the things he builds, or don't like the things he builds. But you don't have to like him as a person the same way that I don't really care for Zuckerberg at all, but I use Facebook. I don't really care for Bezos, but I definitely use Amazon. Why is it any fucking different, man?
It's not. These people
We agree.
with reality.
I mean, look at Charlie Lee. The guy promised the world about Litecoin, dumped at the top on all of his followers, and never delivered what he said he was going to do. Vitalik, same thing, dumps constantly on people's heads, even when he's given stuff for free. And then we're still waiting for the merge that doesn't even fix the fucking gas fees, and sharding is 5 to 7 years away. And people want to hate on Richard. It's insanity, dude.
I don't understand that whole sharding equation, because we put fucking men on the moon with 1970s microcircuitry, and they can't work out an equation for sharding in less than 5 years. What are these guys doing?
Yeah, my point is that we all need to stop being hypocrites in the crypto space. Seriously, we need to stop being these moral, ethical hypocrites. There is no Jesus Christ of crypto. It's all normal human beings just trying to make it every day. Everybody shits the same and eats the same, guys. The only thing that matters is what they build.
Yeah, and just to tag on to that, Monda, so people also need to stop. Part of it is the Hex community has almost made Richard Hart an idol. Respect the man, but don't put him on a plateau that then you become mad when he doesn't live up to your expectations of what that plateau needs to look like, or that platform needs to look like. Just to your point, just accept him. He's a man, just like he puts his pants on one leg at a time, just like I do, just like you do. And he's just a really smart dude that's building something really fucking incredible. And we just need to leave it there and respect him for that, and thank him for that. And then at that point, we don't have to criticize him because he doesn't live up to our expectations of whatever plateau we're trying to put him on, because he's not asking for that.
Exactly. And all these people who talk about his availability and accessibility, they had their big golden opportunity last December. I didn't know shit about shit. Me and my buddy got our asses on the plane. Richard made himself available at that get together in London. You could walk up and talk to the man if you wanted to. He wasn't one of these CEOs that heads around his security detail. He was totally open with everyone there.
The bottom line is, this is not corporate America. So not in this realm. So wake up, sip a coffee.
That's exactly right. Look, guys, he did not ask any of you or me to buy Hex. He did not ask any of you to sacrifice for Pulsechain and PulseX. He did not promise anything to anyone ever. People need to stop trying to treat Richard like he's the CEO of a Fortune 500 company that promised something. Now, when it comes to Pulse, when we sacrificed, we had nothing but trust that Richard was going to build the thing that he said he was going to build. But even then, we were sacrificing with no expectations. Now, we have a testnet V2B up. It's been running like a Lamborghini for months, 6 months now, whatever it is. Now we have, and then he on top of that delivered PulseX and all the amazing tokenomics with that, and a trustless buy and burn that community can use, and all these amazing things that are there and built, and we're using them now on testnet. It's undeniable. Pulsechain, PulseX exist, and they've been born. So we're on the tail end of things, in my opinion. They are optimizing everything to the best of their ability, whatever bugs are there, whatever optimizations they feel they want to make at the tail end of this thing. And then I think that Richard is going to launch it the second he feels that it's the opportune time. But guys, we need to seriously give Richard Hart a break. The community, man, the community has been blessed by so many things that he's taught us. I don't worship Richard Hart. I don't believe everything that he says is whole cloth. But the truth is that most of the things that he says is true. But in terms of us treating him badly or having expectations on this or that, guys, I don't really feel like there's anything that Richard's ever said or done that he hasn't delivered on yet. And to be honest with you, to go from a sacrifice set to launching an entire system state EVM blockchain of Ethereum in 12 months, to me, that's super fucking fast. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but that's pretty damn quick.
Yeah, Mando. I like that you're mentioning this right now because you're actually hitting it right on the mark. Everybody, it's just like I remember reading how everybody has a different perception of you. So, like, to everyone that you're someone else. Someone different, like in their own view. So I think you're like completely 100% right. When people are expecting certain things or they get mad because Richard's doing something, like in reality, the way that I see it is it's kind of like being envious and hypocrites, because at the end of the day, just like you said, the guy's just being himself. And in reality, at the end of the day, that's what we all just need to do, regardless of how you are. You need to be genuinely just, be yourself, regardless of what people think.
Yeah, and one of the things that I've heard the community complain about, some people in the community, is, well, he's going out and buying these Lambos, and he's buying these watches, and he's buying this, he's buying all these clothes and everything. Guys, this literally is marketing. And it represents like 0.0001 of his net worth. It's like nothing. It's literally like us spending $1. We really have to stop and think about what's going on here, guys, and just have a little bit less emotion and a little bit more deeper thought process on the reality of everything we're seeing with Richard. Like when he's walking down the street with his Versace bags, and he's like, hey guys, it's time to fill up the bag. It's like, but yeah, I'm just at the point where, I just wish that people would just not try and change a human being. Like no one has a right to ask Richard to change who he is as a person because they invested in his products. That is not fair. That is not right. and you did not have to do what you did. That was your choice. If you don't like him anymore, you can sell your shit and you can leave. And that's exactly what he said in the live stream to Overwatch partners. If you don't like what's going on, you can feel free to leave.
Yeah, you
Hey,
know what? I
actually,
just
that
read, just really quick, I just read something that said there was a study, I guess, on the Howard Stern show. It was a picture that somebody posted on one of these channels, and they were asking, you know, like, I guess, you know, how much time do people that like him listen to him, and then how much time do people that don't like him listen to him? And the people that don't like him actually were listening to him more. So I think that even if the people that don't like him sell their stuff and leave, they're still going to be trying to keep up to see what he's doing next. So at the end of the day, like I said, you know, I think people are just hating, and you know, like you said, they literally just want to control what someone else is doing, and they're trying to change them. So it's all bad.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you're touching on this.
I mean, one point I made a few days ago is the fact that the reason that OA exists is so that there's a player that's a good player, guaranteed, you know, as good as we can, good player, so that smaller whales, like Rackham, like it's impossible for him to be the biggest whale to impact Hex in a negative way, because there's a much larger entity that holds a lot more of the token. So it doesn't really matter if he just sells, because it'll just be eaten up by everybody else and we move on. But if we had a tokenomics that like everybody else thinks is good, and we're like super decentralized, then one entity that has a oversized bag could fucking destroy us at a whim. And that can't happen because of the way it's distributed. And so the haters can hate all they want, but it's a good thing that the OA exists, so that people like Rackham, who may or may not do bad things, doesn't matter. And we just keep moving on.
Where did that whole rift start? Because I hadn't followed the audio or anything online, even on Twitter.
Yeah, so he gets on and he says in a Twitter thread, gets all irate, very, very odd, because, you know, he's supposed to be a bit, you know, he comes off as a, and if Rackham, you're listening, you know, I don't, I don't get it, brother, because you're the guy talking about the Bible and talking about God and talking about all this, and how you're a business person. But then out of nowhere, he says in these Twitter rants that, you know, he's spoken to a couple of his celebrity friends and they won't touch Richard. Like he was complaining that they won't touch his products because they don't like kind of who he is and whatnot, right? And then he starts going into all these rants about, you know, he needs this, basically telling him how to act, how to be as a person to represent Hex and Pulse. And then he started to actually do attacks where he's talking about his Saudi Arabia friends and Russians, and, you know, that, you know, he's basically egging him on, like threatening type talk, right? And Richard's like, look, man, I don't know what's going on with you, but this is not how it works, right? Like, I don't owe you shit.
Respond directly, did he?
Yes, they had, but Richard didn't respond in a disrespectful or negative way. And then the next day, after this big Twitter rant, like a day and a half later, they had the you know, the live stream with the guy that did the documentary, and Richard spoke directly to him essentially and said, look, and he told the Mexican community, look, everybody that's in the documentary, which includes Rackham, he said, they're all good people. They're all good people. And he said, you know, if you're giving him a bad time, just stop doing it, you know? But then he like looked right at the camera and said, but guy, if you don't like who I am and how I'm doing things, you could feel free to leave. Then the Hex community, being basically like a very resourceful, very smart community. And that's the thing about our community. We're a beast. went and dug up the reality on a lot of the things that are in his past, and it exposed a lot of stuff, unfortunately. Now, I'm not claiming to know everything at all, but this is what I saw happen. Somebody else can speak to it if they want. And it showed a lot of past transactions that had to do with a lot of different things. And he kind of got exposed for some things. And now he's gone. Off Twitter, deleted. See you later. That's what
Literally
happened.
disaster.
What's
Like, on
funny
a
you mention that?
social media perspective, he literally just disastered himself. Like, I'm sure not on a financial, I'm sure the guy's well off, but on a social media community basis, he, like, you couldn't disaster yourself more than he did.
Well, it's kind of funny you mentioned that
Hex just went,
because I'm not for sure.
Hex is at 8-3. So it's headed to 9.
It's because
Yeah,
of
so
the
check
post.
this out. So
I mean, that thing with
man,
Rackham.
Rackham
me do some
posted
push-ups.
on his Twitter.
One at a time.
One at a time, guys, please. One at a time. Mute out, one at a time.
So Pepe hit up Rackham because Rackham came out with a new post yesterday. And it says, "Hey, everyone, I'm back. I dropped my phone down the toilet. Sorry."
No, that's fake. That's a fake account, dude.
Oh, it was a fake account.
That's a
That's
fucking
what
fake
I'm trying to
account.
say.
That's a parody
He's
account.
back. He's back. He's back on. He came on back on this morning.
Yeah, but that
his original impact.
His original account's back.
Just to pull back a bit, I don't know if many of you remember when Rackham came in this Telegram group and he was shilling a hardware wallet, and Papa B came on, interrupted him, and told him to stop that crap and don't shill that stuff. And Rackham's response, instead of being understanding and inquisitive and debating, he pretty much attacked Papa B. He called him a fool and pretty much resorted to some chest pounding, my dick is bigger than your dick type juvenile attitude, which shocked me. I was shocked. I didn't think he was like that. That was sign number 1. Sign number 2 is when he attacked Funding Jim a few weeks ago. Called him out. Whatever for a reason, he was very, very adamant about calling him out. And then recently, most recently, is what Mando just explained about calling out Richard Hart. So he has demonstrated, if you put it together, some behavior that is kind of troubling. And I don't know what's going on with him, but I don't think about it the same way that I used to. And I don't know, it's very troubling to me.
Exactly. This kind of goes into point out how, like, a lot of people are hating on Richard Hart because he's being very transparent. And look what happens, when other people are very transparent, right? Yeah, so it's just, it's just crazy.
Another thing. Oh, God damn it! I forgot what I was going to say. Never mind. Sorry.
Also,
No, I mean, I was
before we
gonna
continue, I
say,
just wanted to say, if we can
never mind.
like hold off on the cuss words. I got my little 3-year-old here.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Y'all on cuss mode. Turn it off for right now.
When is
No problem,
Pulsechain coming?
That you gonna do?
When is Pulsechain launch? When?
We don't know yet, sir. Go follow the Twitter feeds, and you'll be informed as soon as we do.
I'm angry. Grr.
You sound very riled up.
Go eat a Snickers bar.
Grr.
Go buy some Hex. It'll make you feel better.
Yeah. I think about it. What do you think?
Before it goes up anymore.
Good now? Should I buy Hex now?
Yo. No one can give you advice, man, into what to do. No one
You
can
know,
get
I
Yeah,
wanted to buy
buy
10 cents and then it fell down below it. So, yeah.
I bet you didn't
It's
buy
good.
when it was. I bet you didn't buy when it was 3 cents or 4 cents or 5 cents either, right?
Yes. No, I bought 25 cents, sir. I'm sorry.
But you didn't buy at 5 cents.
At 5 cents, I never bought.
So you'd be willing to buy at 25 cents, but not a 5x less, right?
Yes, I know, I know. I wanted to buy at 10 cents, but then I was late and it's now below it. So, yeah, I think I should. But how much? How much?
lots of
The
it.
lower the
Buy it.
Well, yeah, but you know,
$1 million.
million?
we're having a good
No, no
conversation.
million.
Sure.
Yo. Everybody wants Pulsechain to launch as fast as possible.
Yeah,
Ricky,
my man, I need it now. I need the money.
well, you shouldn't have put in so much that you needed it then. That's your
I
deal.
put a loan. I took a big loan and I put.
This guy's
He's trolling.
being silly. He's being trolling.
I took a big loan and I put.
Yeah, no more trolling there. We're good. Amazing seeing Hex on 9.
Thanks for
Guys,
that
Mortgage your,
just so you guys
mortgage your
know,
house. I can do the loan for you.
if you're not watching Hex Vision, you know there is some large end stakes between now and the 6th of June, which may represent a last ditch buying opportunity potentially at lows. So just make sure you're keeping an eye on that Hex Vision.
I'm interested to see what they do when those stakes mature, because it could either be means for another dip and an opportunity to get in low again, or restake and kind of cement in that position. It'll
Well,
be
yeah, but
interesting. I know
I
I did some research.
I don't care if they restake. All I care about is, do they sell? Because if they sell, then we can buy cheaper, right? If they restake, great. We just keep moving.
But I did some research into some of the end stakes that happened in the past week or so. Some of the bigger ones, multi-millions of hex, ended stake just over halfway through, paid about as much of penalty as they had in reward. And anyways, I bookmarked the tabs for those wallet addresses and looked at them last night. And they swapped out, they sold out to USDC, and the USDC is still sitting there in their wallets. So, and I don't know why they wouldn't have executed a buy when it dipped and just held their powder liquid.
Well, it just is a volatile market, man. You got to understand that some people just not going to want to buy a volatile coin with a down market. They just don't want to lose their money.
Yeah, I guess so. And another thought that I had was like maybe they're just holding it prep for Pulsechain. But fuck, dude, I know if I had cashed out a bunch of hex and I had millions of dollars sitting there and I saw it go to 2.5, 3.5 cents, oh, you couldn't stop me, dude. I'm pushing you out the way while I get to my computer.
But you got to make that decision when you get that type of money, right? So
yeah,
I get, right. There's a lot of hypothetical talk we always do, but it's a down market, man. It may be some coins that's going to never come back, right, in this market, and it may be some coins that's going to come back. It's like the stock market, right? They call it a big 28 for a reason. You're going to have jewels that's going to be found in this, right? Ethereum has been around for 10 years yet. There's really no solid financial information because things are going to change as more people adapt. I'm looking at how it comes back and how the market cap grows. Because if we go over 2 trillion, oh man, that's a great thing. I think that it shows growth in the market. That's what I'm counting on. So I'm one of the guys that are sitting with a major bag in USDC because I want to make some money, but I don't want to play in a down market right now. And I respect people that do that. They're diligent with their money, and some people may take chances and they win big. But I feel bad for the guy that throw $100 million into the game right now, and then all of a sudden, when Pulsechain launched,
that $100,000. I'm sorry, that $100,000 is worth $5,000. That's horrible.
What do you mean they put in 100,000 and now it's worth 5,000 if they bought
Yeah,
Pulse?
yeah. No, not Post. I'm not talking about Post. I'm talking about somebody that put that want to get into Post, and they take 100,000 and they put it into a volatile cryptocurrency, and by the time Post launches, that 100,000 is worth $5,000. That's horrible, right? Especially when you want to invest in something else. You know, like me,
Yeah,
I'm not
I don't think there's
Ethereum
anybody in
investor.
the world other than why would
No.
anybody that wants to
That was based.
go into
That was based on
USDC?
Illuminati's question. That was based on Illuminati just saying, if he had money, why would he just sit it in USDC? Because there's a lot of money being set into USDC after they exit out of their coins.
Yeah, no, you make a good point. And a lot of these were at least five. Actually, all of these were at least 500 day-old stakes that were supposed to be either 1,000 or more. And those people are up. They're up, and so if you get up like that and you haven't had that kind of money, I imagine you'd probably want to hold it, especially watching this market be as geeky as it is. I mean, we saw HEX go from 7 to 3 in a day. In a matter of a couple hours.
Yeah, especially
The number one reason why they're going into USDC is because it's the most liquidity. You're gonna eat the least amount of slippage when you sell your HEX. That is the reason why they're going into USDC.
Right. And then like people that want to play in the crypto game and really trade and then turn say $1 million into multiple millions of dollars, that's one type of investor. Then an investor that want to take a few 100,000 and then transfer that into millions of dollars over a long-term strategy. That's a different type of investor in the game. So when you see people holding these coins, hey, that may be a good sign for Post. As soon as it launch, you'll have more people that's coming that's really want to come in and bring the most value over.
Even Eric Wall wants to buy Pulsechain, so I mean, doesn't that say all?
Hey guys, circling back on Rackham, I just wanted to say that he has self-admittedly, he's on the spectrum. And I don't know if you've ever dealt with anyone with, autism at any level, but they are prone to outburst. And I think that, we should give that some consideration, give him a break. I think he just had a moment. And whenever we see these outbursts, like with Funding Gem and things like that, I think it's the fact that he's on the spectrum, self-admittedly, and when he goes off, he can't control it. So I just wanted to say that. I know there's a lot of memes and a lot of bashing of Rackham, but we don't know what it's like to be trapped in that situation.
I appreciate
I'll say
you
here.
bringing that up.
Hey, let me
I
say one
appreciate you
thing.
bringing that up.
Let me say one thing. Rackham, I've been in HEX since for fucking 2.5 years. Rackham has Overwatch. Didn't know who the guy was. Seemed like a great guy for like 2 fucking years. In like a week, he completely destroyed any like positive understanding of me as a person, and that's gonna take like a lot to get back. Literally 2 years of him
Yeah, and I
being
think
like
that's
a positive influence in the community, and he fucking destroys it in a week for no fucking benefit. Like, how is there's no way that was gonna come out positive for him. So,
I
he's
think,
back.
and he
We'll see
said
what he does.
himself that he is his own worst enemy, and he hates himself more than other people hate him. And I just, that's all I want to say is, I don't know what it's like to be on the spectrum. I don't know what it feels like and not being able to control. And I think that is what happened. He just went off and he didn't get the response, and he started getting attacked, and he got lit up. And but look at the other thing that he's done, like with what's the guy, the YouTuber guy, the life coach. My life is awesome. I mean, he paid his house off. He does care. It's just that I think that when he goes off, and he's even said when he goes off, people run. You know, and that's a bad thing, and I don't know what that feels
Yeah,
like.
but I don't care if he's on the spectrum or not. Have somebody that has multi-sig on your damn Twitter feed. You're the biggest investor in the project, and you're threatening Richard Hart.
Yeah, I know.
I don't care if you're bipolar. I don't care what the fuck you are. You just don't do that.
I agree. And
There's
all
no
I'm saying
excuse. And the whole time he's calling out Richard for not being a good businessman. He's got one of the largest positions in our ecosystem, and then he's threatening Richard. You know, saying very odd things. You know, have some accountability. Have some accountability. If you feel like you're going manic, shut your Twitter off. Give it to your friend.
Well, I'm sure that maybe looking back, he wishes he did that. I'm just saying that's the only thing I wanted to bring up, and I'm not saying, what happened was okay. I'm just saying that he's self-admittedly on the spectrum, and when he goes off, it's pretty epic.
Yeah, but
and
here's the thing. Here's the thing about being on the spectrum. I mean, it's a hold on. It's a valid point to be on the spectrum, but I have two family members that are on the spectrum, right? And they sometimes do stupid, dumb shit. Pardon the French. I know we got a kid on here, so I'll reel that in. But they've done things, but then they come back and they profusely apologize. They make it right. So what he needs to do is he needs to come in and make it right with the community. He needs to make it right with Richard. That's what he needs to do.
And people are always quick.
He's on this.
People are quick to forgive. People are quick to hold on. People are quick to forgive. So that's all it would take was just some humility. Go, hey, I made a mistake, like on a community with Richard, and then boom, like if somebody did that in my personal life, and somebody does something like that, they make amends, they apologize. I'm always quick to forgive. But if that's absent, then no. And then really,
and maybe that will happen, and maybe it won't. But I
hope
agree
it does. I hope it does, because I believe in forgiveness 100%. We all need forgiveness. I hope he does do that.
If we're looking for forgiveness and apologies, let me break this down so that there's no misunderstanding. When you apologize, there's 3 elements to a proper apology. First, you have to admit what you did was wrong. That's step number 1. Step number 2, you have to make a commitment that you'll never do that again. Whatever that you admitted that was wrong, you'll never do it again. And lastly, and most importantly, you have to ask, what can I do to make it up to you? So if he comes in here with that attitude and we answer all those things and he follows through, then he can be forgiven. But until then, he has to be accountable for his actions, not just responsible.
Amen.
Perfectly said. And that applies to every one of us.
Perfectly said, but it ain't going to happen. And the reason it ain't going to happen is because people on here don't understand autism unless they've got it in their family. Just sorry. It's been something's been going on with someone with autism on here for months, and nobody understands why.
I know many people who got autism and ADHD diagnosis. Nothing is wrong with them. It's psychiatry bullshit most of the times.
Let's not get into all that, guys. Let's not get into all that, please, in here. I don't want to get into a debate over that shit.
Mando, you know what's weird to me is
some of it ain't shit.
People all of a sudden now want to come in and control Richard and change who he is as a person, right? So if you got into Hex, right, you knew Richard was, he used colorful language and spoke a certain way, and which he has kind of tempered a little bit. He used to have like bikini girls, way back then. So why now all of a sudden, that he made people wealthy, now they want to change him? It's like a girlfriend dating a guy, like knowing who he is and then wanting him to change after. You know, it makes no sense to me. Like, why are you guys now wanting this man to be something you want him to be?
I don't want him to change, but if he's sorry, then he can apologize for what he did. And if he doesn't, then he won't change, and we're okay with that too.
I was
No,
talking about
he was saying.
Yeah, and I have my own opinion on that. You know, I kind of see both viewpoints. I understand that people that people can view Richard as like saying, hey, you know, we don't care how you are, but when you're representing me or something that I invested in, then they can have a problem with that. That's everywhere though. That's everywhere. You're not going to change that. So just like you got to have you kind of got to have respect for Richard to say that's who he is. You got to have respect for other people and say that's who they are.
Yeah, but nobody's forcing you to invest in his product, right?
Understood.
But
That's your
you're
opinion,
forcing
homeboy.
your opinion on
Homeboy,
somebody, right? He's not
homeboy.
for.
That is your opinion. That's all that I'm saying. That's
No,
your
no.
opinion, man.
What I'm saying
It's
is
not
a
an
fact.
opinion.
No, what I'm saying is a fact. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is you have a choice to invest in something or not. But telling
Right.
somebody to behave a certain way because you choose
100%.
to invest in his product,
It's
you know?
some people out there, bro. It's some people out there that take money so serious that they say if they put their money in it, they want to own it. Now, whether they own it or not is up to everybody, right? On how far a person can go. But don't think for 1 second that majority of people out there don't want to control other people, because that's what we do. A lot of people like controlling other people. So I can actually see both sides of the fence. Hey, that's who he is. Hey, you don't have to invest. But then at the end of the day, you got to say, okay, as somebody that started something and taking people money, that person can step up and say, I got more of a responsibility to represent myself in such a way where I don't harm other people's investments. And you can
Yeah, look, I
accidentally
mean,
harm somebody else's
here's the
investment.
thing. Here's the thing. Hold on, because we beat this horse like black and blue dead for the last hour, and so I mean, in all honesty, I think everything that's been that could be said has been said for the last hour in this chat. So, I mean, let's face it. Right now, Hex is a good buy, and if I had more money, I would be buying some Hex. I'd be still excited for Pulsechain, irregardless of any of this stuff that we're talking about. I don't care if it's Rackham, Spectrum, Richard Hart with bikini girls. Like if I had more money right now, and I'm glad that Pulsechain is delaying a little bit, because hopefully in the next month I can get some more money. Hopefully Hex stays a low price so I can get more of my copies, right? And then also get some USDC so I can bridge in and buy Pulse, you know, and you know, so I mean, let's face it, we're all in this together right now, and the Richard Hart, Rackham, all this bullshit has been beat dead for the last hour.
Correct. You're not. Look, let's just get to the brass tacks of it. No one is going to change Richard, and no one, including the biggest sacrificer in his project, is going to tell him what to do. He made that abundantly clear in the live stream and in his tweets. So accept it. If you don't want to accept it, sell your shit and get out of his product.
And at the end of the day, too, all of us in this room, even if we only have a little bit, we're still going to be in 5 years, as Jake and Nader says, we're going to be blessed. We're going to be rich. We're going to be blessed. We're, you know, like life, this is going to be life changing, right? So, you know, yeah, that's all I got to say on this. We beat the horse dead a long time ago, and we're all still in this community. We're all still going to be blessed. We're all, you know, like, it is what it is.
Yeah, Hex is actually looking amazing right now. I mean, off that 1.17 cent wick, and we're headed to 9 cents right now. All these haters, oh, Hex is dead, Hex is dead. It's headed back to 10 cents.
I wish I
phenomenal.
had dry powder. I wish I had dry powder, Mondo. Right now, I would have bought Hex yesterday, man. And that's why I haven't been on this chat for 2 days, because it's like, really, I wasn't bummed that the price was dumping. I was bummed that I didn't have more. I didn't have more to buy.
God,
that's what I wanted.
Well, you know what? I mean, look, the next 6-7 days between now and the 6th, there's a lot of end stakes coming, and we'll have to see what those people do. Do they sell? Do they restake? There may be another great buying opportunity, one last fat buying opportunity. Pretty excited to see what happens.
On Hex Vision, Mando, exactly. I was just looking on there. Where exactly can you? There's a lot of things to click on that website. Can you just put that particular link for what you're looking at in the feed?
Yeah, you just go to hex.vision, right? And then on the left-hand side of the page, you're going to click on staking. Once you get to the staking, you can do the drag to the side feature, and it'll blow up, whatever you have inside of that spectrum that dragon hold, and you'll be able to see the dates and the amount of hex that's coming due.
Hey, I got a question regarding MetaMask and setting up a new MetaMask account on multiple MetaMask accounts on a single Trezor wallet. Is that possible?
You can have multiple addresses from a hardware wallet that's connected to a MetaMask account, correct?
Okay, and then, so I guess what I'm trying to do, and I'll try to be brief, but what I'm trying to do is I staked a bunch of Hex a year ago on a MetaMask account, and now I want to create a separate MetaMask account. And so that MetaMask account that I staked a year ago is associated with a specific Trezor wallet. And I'd like to create a new MetaMask account, link it to that same Trezor wallet, and put some new stakes on it. So I have stakes in different wallets, and so it's kind of more secure.
You need to get multiple hardware wallets.
So do I need a new hardware wallet for every MetaMask that has stakes?
Yeah, you can't have like one hardware wallet connected to 5 different specific seed phrases for 5 different MetaMask accounts.
Okay, so I just want to do it with 2 different MetaMask accounts on one hardware wallet. That's not possible.
No, you have to have a hardware wallet per. Number one, you want your crypto inside of keys that were not derived on the internet but direct from your hardware wallet.
Correct.
Okay, so you set that up, and then you can connect to MetaMask, and then you can add addresses from the hardware wallet. You can add multiple addresses, right? But you can't do what you're trying to do.
Okay, so yeah, my problem is my old stakes. I just did them on my cell phone on MetaMask. I derived it. I typed them in. So I'm trying to. I mean, I can't. Obviously, I'm kind of stuck with those. So I'm trying to create it. But I did put those on a hardware wallet, and now I'm trying to create a new set of stakes on a seed phrase that's derived, like you said, from a secure hardware wallet that was never.
Then you have to purchase another hardware wallet, because it sounds like you migrated the seeds from that first MetaMask into the hardware wallet you have now, correct?
I did. Is that not the right thing to do, though?
No, because the stakes that are associated to that first wallet, they're associated to the keys that you typed in.
Okay, so it's not.
So you've got to get a second hardware wallet. That'll be a vault.
So I do,
and
okay,
that's a
so I
much
have
more
a Vault
safer
wallet.
security
I'm
posture.
waiting for the Pulse drop. I have a second Trezor that hasn't, I've just set it up. It's a 24 seed phrase wallet and I haven't done anything. So can I, because I haven't received my Pulse yet, so it's just empty. So can I use that to, can I use that wallet, my Vault wallet, to put some new stakes on?
Absolutely. You just connect it to your MetaMask, and you're just using MetaMask at that point with your second Trezor with the 24-word seed phrase as the UI to use, so you can see what's going on.
Okay. Okay, so I'll play around with that. I hope I should.
And then as your stakes come out from that first migrated wallet, you're going to send those tokens to the Volt wallet that was not derived from the internet.
Got it. Okay. So I just a random thing. I was traveling in Europe and I left my laptop, my crypto laptop, because I thought it was Pulse was supposed to drop in May. And so I brought my crypto with my hardware keys and everything with me. And I did bring my handwritten seed recovery phrases with me as well. Anyways, I left it out there at a friend's house like an idiot. And I had him ship it to me overnight. I trust him, but he literally had access to my 24 seed phrase. And it's an empty hardware wallet. But I'm thinking about just resetting. I can reset that and get a new 24 seed phrase, right? No problem. I just plug it in and then just reset it. If I want to just ensure that he didn't take any photographs or write down my seed phrase or do anything sketchy. Is that pretty easy to do?
I've never done that. If anybody else can speak to that, please do.
Yes, with a brand new wallet, you can reset. We can do that.
How do I guess I could just Google how to reset my Trezor, but is it, you just plug it in and
You'd have to wipe it like a factory reset and then generate new seeds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
it's literally in the settings. There's a factory reset. It'll wipe out and it'll start over completely with a new set of words.
Okay. And then last question. Every time I like plug in my Trezor and I see it pop up on my MetaMask and I click the little circle on the top right and then I see my different accounts. And then maybe I do my little transaction, I move crypto around. Every time I'm done, should I just like not only physically unplug the Trezor, but should I like remove it from my accounts on the software, on the MetaMask software on my computer? Should I like remove it from there?
No.
Just keep the dummy?
You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. That's just a...
You don't have to, but it is good practice.
Got it.
The same problem in the future.
The reason why is because if you have more than one, then the next time you go in, it's much easier to attach a brand new one and not worry about the existing one there and doing all that. So if you just get in the habit of removing it, it's just good practice.
Yeah, I remove mine and lock my MetaMask every single time, as per Papa Boner's instruction. Plus, when you do that, you actually memorize your PIN number. So I don't even need to look at my PIN number anymore. It's just locked into my head because I've done it that many times.
Okay, and how do I remove it? Like I'm looking at the software here, MetaMask. I'm logged in. Click the little circle. I see my three.
Below the circle, you get three dots. And then it will say remove account.
Below the circle. Okay. View account on Etherscan, account details, or connected sites.
If you don't have a Trezor, it may not show you the option to remove account. But it's when you will see the
oh, I see it.
Remove
it's be
account
a Trezor
feature.
account. I see it now. It's got to be a Trezor. So I highlight the account that says Trezor next to it in gray. And then once I do that, I click the three little dots and it'll give me the option to remove account. Okay. So Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Hey, fellas, I just wanted to say something real quick. So I'm on nomics.com and on the homepage, and I hit the sort on price, right? So you hit sort on price, and guess what's on top as number one? Just take a wild guess, everyone.
Hex.
Luna 2.0.
Luna is actually very, very last on that list.
Good.
Hex is up 32% in the last 24 hours.
Damn.
That's because of Mando's 1 hour wonderful
Richard,
explanation of how great Hex is. We're trending because of Mando's good work in the last 2 hours.
Hey, thanks, Crypto Goose. I appreciate you, man, because you're the master of T-shares.
Well, I just got a great lesson in bankroll management. Jesus Christ. Wish I had that dry powder down there.
Yeah, and for Joseph Carter, man, you should have put that USDC in at 3 cents, bro. Don't think he's in here now, but Hex is just an absolute beast, guys.
Yeah, like I said earlier, man, the reason I was bummed was not because the price was dropping, but because I don't have any more resources to put into Hex right now, man. Otherwise, I would have. So hopefully, Mando, your view of the stakes, the end stakes coming up. Hopefully, that gives me another good buy opportunity because I think in the next couple of weeks I'll be able to do something.
Again, a lot of people just don't pay attention to Hex.vision. It's one of the things that's amazing about Hex is you can see when the supply is going to be potentially hitting the market with large end stakes. So those always represent a potential opportunity for a dip. And you should be ready for those things, especially at these prices. I mean, think about it. If we've got hundreds of millions end staking, most of the time they don't dump it all in the market, right? Because they just end stake and restake it most of the time. But if they do, and we're at 8 cents, it's just going to get bought up really quick.
Can I ask you a question about, because one of the things, probably one of my rookie mistakes, that I've never really done a market order in crypto. So when you do it on, you guys are doing it on Matcha or Change Now?
No, I mean, are you talking about for a limit order?
Yeah, I'm sorry, for a limit order.
Yes. Well, you can do matcha.xyz, or you can do, what's the other one, guys? If you're not in the US, I'm having a brain fart right now.
ChangeNow.io.
No.
Bitget.
1 inch.
Oh, you can do. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm in America. Okay. And then second question: when you set those, they don't pull your liquid, right? Only if it hit. Only if it hits. Like it doesn't. It doesn't like if you put up 1,000 USD, does it pull that from your account, or only if it hits?
No, it's only if it hits. And generally, you want to be a little bit more above like a certain threshold, or you might not get filled, because it is the seller that's paying the fees. So like $1,000, a lot of the time that kind of stuff won't get filled.
Right. Okay.
Also, you have to pick a time frame of how long do you want it to stay active. Otherwise, if you cancel, let's say you say you want it to sit there for whatever, 48 hours, 2 days. If you cancel it before that, you pay a small fee.
Got it. So it's timed, and those will expire.
Yeah, when you set up the limit order, it asks you how long you want it to be active, whether it's a day or 7 days or whatever. And then if it doesn't get filled in that time, it'll retract.
Yeah, I think the shortest option on Matcha at least is 10 minutes. So I was just real quick, I don't know if I'm interrupting. Cut me off if I am, but I just got an Uber to my roommate's workplace so I can take her car to go to my friend's birthday. And anyways, I was thinking about it. I'm like, man, it's gonna be so exciting when Pulsechain's here to onboard people. Right now it seems a little difficult, at least for my personality type, but when I can be like, hey man, you into crypto? And they say yes, and I can be like, all right, sweet. Here, like, let me show you this, and change your, go to Pulsechain, and or like just give me your public address, and then I can just send them like some free monies, like I wanted to tip my Uber driver in crypto, but it's like, man, the gas fees are outrageous, and it's stupid. But come Pulsechain, I can, do that kind of stuff. Like anybody I interact with, I can just so quickly get them on for so cheap, and then boom, they're in the ecosystem, and they can do what they want from there.
Hello, guys. I hope that you're well. I got a specific question for Mandalorian regarding Hex.vision. I would like to know specifically how does he do on his side to see the stakes which are about to end the next day or at the end of the month, because I know this Elasticsearch dashboard, but to be honest with you, it's quite basically complete in terms of data, but horrible in terms of usage. So if you don't mind, and if you have that in mind, or if you're in front of your computer, if you can just tell me that would be awesome. Thank you. Not here.
Well, I mean, so that's all like
No,
data, right?
I'm here.
I imagine like he just like looks at the contract and probably has some kind of code written up to search
No,
the contract.
I just pasted an image from it. But what you're going to do, you'll go to hex.vision, and then on the left, you'll click on staking.
Okay, do it in real time. Okay.
I am. Okay. You go to staking. It'll pull up the dashboard. You'll see the UI.
Okay.
And then you'll see a big, huge red candle up. The very tall one. When you put your cursor on it, it's from 5/28, 2022.
Correct. I see it.
So if you just go one to the left of that and then drag just over that one big wick, and then click it, it'll pop up more information. And then you'll get a bird's eye view of every day and the amount of stakes expiring between now and the 29th, which is the end of next month.
Okay, let me just see that. 31, 6. Okay. Okay, yeah, I see.
So the biggest stakes expiring is on the 1st of June for 636.54 million hex. 109,000 shares.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, 636. I see. Okay, so this is how you do basically. Each time you go on this one, and then you see ahead when basically someone has a huge stakes that is about to end, basically.
Yeah, and so you can see that we've got between now and maybe the second week of June, and then it really levels off after that. It's actually like the 6th or 7th. So between now and about the 6th of next month, there's some larger stakes ending, and then it really levels off after that. So between now and then, there's a potential buying opportunity, right? So that's what I love about Hex. You can see the potential inflation that might hit the market. It's not a guarantee, but there's no other crypto that does that for you.
Of course. Thank you very much for this help. And just one thing, how do you do to, even if it can be done, to zoom out? Because I did what you told me, but I don't see how to zoom out. How do you do to zoom out? Because I am.
You just go back to the beginning. You just go back to the beginning of the first one before you drag and drop, and then you can
Okay.
zoom in on whatever piece you'd like, or
I
zoom
see.
out.
Of course, but there isn't like a shortcut to zoom in or zoom out, staying in the same UI, right? You always
I
need to go back.
no, there's a lot of like things you have to do to get to where you want. It's not perfect like in that way, but you can get to the information pretty quick.
Yeah.
So go to the top right and change the date. So if you change the dates in the top right, it'll set the parameters for you.
Top right, okay.
Does it say how long that 636 million stake is, or has been going for?
Difficult, man. Difficult to hear. Like there is a cascade behind you, the top or no. Horrible. The sound.
I'll check.
Guys, who is that with that shower sound in the background?
I don't know. That ain't me.
So Mondo, sir, I got a quick one. I was actually catch the end of the explanation how to use Elastic. So I'm on the main website, and I want to go into to check those stakes. Literally just what you explained to CryptoSafe. So how to go into these stakes?
I can re-explain for him because he already explained. I can help you. Go on hex.vision, okay? And then you have on the left, you have like staking. Click on it. Staking. Tell me when you are there.
My computer froze.
Okay, it happens sometimes. Yeah, because this feature is really important, you know.
Okay, cool. I got I'm on the dashboard now.
Okay, so normally you see hex.vision and then dashboards, plural, and then you see adoption amplifier, hex penalties, gas prices, staking. You click on staking on the left.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. Then normally it loads, and then you will see like this chart, this bar chart with the red one.
How
You
to
see?
zoom? See that? Yeah, of course.
And when you zoom, you click, for example, on the huge bar at the 28/5/2022. You click, left click, and then you keep pressed your left click, and then you drag to the left. For example, you drag to the left. Like
just drag
bars
over
right
that
now.
big red bar. Just drag over the way.
And then it's going to zoom in automatically, and
Thank
then you will be good.
I've been here the other day, and I was like, bloody hell, how should I do that? I've done it once, and I've done it. Man, so easy. Thank you, guys.
And the last thing, I'm just testing.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes.
Cannot
You can't
hear
hear
me.
anymore. Your mic is wrecked.
You are cutting off.
Illuminati, you need to get yourself a lovely, brand new mic, brother.
These are I'm just in a place with shitty service. A terrible service. I was wondering if it says how long that 636 million hex stake is. Does it say how long it's been in for?
It's not
It's
one
not-
whole
it's not
stake.
one stake.
I'm looking at it. There's one that's 51 million X. That's kind of one of the bigger ones, and it's been staked for about 800 days, and the person doesn't really have that much more money, so they'll probably take some profit on the 51 million. But besides that, they're not. It's not all one big stake. They're all small stakes or smaller stakes.
Okay.
Do you see that? Because
Yeah,
let's
just
say, for example,
a lot of people.
let's say, for example, we see this. And by the way, I just for Hex Room, if you want to change the interval on the top right, like Captain Mango, I think, said before, You don't need to go backwards. You just on the top right, you have the 2 dates, and you can change the interval like that. And then you click refresh, and it basically updates just the bar chart for you without needing to go back or whatever. That's quite convenient. But just one question: where did you find the information regarding the when it started?
Right underneath all that data, that's all the data. So you can see hex state, you can see when they staked it, you can see their address, all right below it.
Yeah, I see, but okay, maybe it's this one because it starts from the 27, 2022 on my side. All stakes by expected end time. That's what I see. I don't see like the one that I want. You know, the huge, the one like of like 636.54 million hex. I want to have information, specific information about this one. And when I click on it, it doesn't update the part, the component below, you know, where you see all stakes by expected end time.
I like using the exact dates. Like I'll set the dates and set those parameters, and then you know, you can. I don't think the double click does anything, but
you think that I should change? I should change on the
dates.
top right. On the top right. Okay.
Yeah. So my dates are set between May 30th and June 4th, and then it really expands it out. You can see the red candles per day, and then it'll give you all the data below.
Okay, just check. I'm doing it. 28.
Actually,
okay, May 31.
I was looking at May 31.
Yeah, May 31 I put, and the huge one is 1/6.
The large one is on the 6th. It's on the 1st of the month.
Yeah.
Right, so it's off.
Correct. 1/6. Date.
It's amazing. People that bought are already up like 100%.
That's why I'm
or
staking
more.
it out. I'll wait 2 years. Give me that, please. Trying to find a bigger stake.
Yeah, definitely satisfied with my ape purchase, but also will be satisfied if there's another dip, so I can get more.
Same here, man. I agree 100%. I originally bought it at 19 cents, and then 15, 14, 10, and then 5. So yeah, I'm excited to see if it goes down because I'm getting more.
Oh, your cost basis is starting to look really good, brother.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
get that there.
big fatty. Listening to you, Matt, a few minutes ago when it dropped, and I just remember you got all fired up, and then I literally ran to my laptop right there and then.
Same, man.
Hey, the Mando's the one of the old faithfuls, man. Come in here and you got to get the community back on track sometimes. Everybody's not thinking straight sometimes. No advice. Yeah, I didn't tell anybody to do anything, but look where it's at now.
Well, I think I definitely learned a lesson of like I make my weekly purchases already, but I think what I'm gonna start doing is putting a little bit of that money that I have allocated for my weekly purchases aside, just in fiat, for when there are more dips that are kind of unexpected, I guess. That you gotta do, because I totally wish I had a lot more fiat
to push into this thing than I did at the time. Still satisfied with what I got, but you know, if I had put away $100 every time I made a hex purchase, I would be a lot more happy.
Yeah, definitely. I remember hearing Mando saying, I think it was Mando, he was like, I'm like doing everything, selling chains, selling, you know, jewelry. I think it was him. But yeah, man, you know, you got to do what you got to do.
Hey,
Obviously, don't put in more than you can lose. You know, like don't go put in your mortgage payment. But yeah.
I was literally looking at my PG&E online account, trying to figure out if I could get a way to delay my payment because I got a paycheck coming on Thursday. So I was like, well, if I push off that payment, you know, I can buy, you know, $240 more. And then it just started waking up, and I'm like, screw it, I gotta go down.
Are you in California?
Oh, yeah. Did you notice?
Okay. So no, it's because you mentioned PG&E, dude, and I used to work for an agency that used to help with PG&E payments, and PG&E actually can push it out even after you get that like 15-day notice or whatever. I think after that you get like a 24-hour notice, and even after that, I know that back then you could even call them and you know talk to them, and they will push it out if you like you know say I'll make a payment on this day. So give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good now. I'm getting paid on Thursday, so I'll chill it. But it was funny. I can still feel the bump on my head. I didn't draw no blood, but I hit it pretty hard, trying to get under my desk to push the buttons on my hardware wallet to confirm the transaction.
That's funny, man. That's funny. Yeah, I was trying to get in when I think it went all the way down to 4.4 a few days ago.
Dude, it went to 3. It was at 3.5 for a little bit on Macho. It was
No way,
3.5.
man. Yeah, so when
That's
I seen
when
it
I
at
tried to
4.4.
my first buy.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say when I seen it at 4.4, that's when I started the process, and finally when I finished it, and you know, it was back up to 5.
Yep. Yeah, I screwed up.
Hey,
I like.
Sorry about that. I was just going to ask. So where you can set the date in the top right hand corner, and it says whatever date I want to set it. So let's just say the 28th of May, or let's say the 27th, because that was right before that one big huge thing. And then where do you set the end date? It says now or relative or absolute.
To the right of it. It's right to the right, up top.
Yeah, just
I see
next to
one
the
place. I see one place
You're
where I
still
can
on the
put
main
the end date.
Yeah. Absolute is what you're going to want to pick there.
Okay, absolute. Oh, there it is. So that's the start date.
And then you can set
Right?
the end date.
The end date is right to the right of it.
On mine it says absolute, relative, and now, and so I set the date for the 28th. Okay, so boom, and then I'm looking. Oh, okay, there you go. I didn't. Oh, my bad. Sorry, guys.
Okay, sometimes if you stay on the main page and just use the the little kind of app with all the other charts, it'll give you those absolute dates, and then I think as soon as you get like zoomed in on that actual just main data app, then it'll the dates to the top right, and you'll already be in absolute.
Oh man, I wish I'd known about this tool before I fucking. Oh well, that's how it goes. I'll know about it for the future.
Yeah, it's wild. You can get all the advice in the world sometimes from people, and it's the right advice, but you go against the grain anyway, and then you end up learning it the hard way. That's the way that I've done everything to this point. So, just happy to be in here and like learn it when we do, and hopefully fail forward.
Yeah, so that's that big candle on the 28th. It's not a candle, but that big unstake or expired staking I'll call it a candle because it looks like a candle, whatever. That was probably, that added to that pressure, that sell pressure down to 3.4 cents. Yeah.
But that was a guy that
I think
sold
most of it was
liquidity.
liquidity provider.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I think did a good thing. You know, pulled his liquidity, sold it off, market dropped, and gave us all the chance to get in early. You know, cheap.
Why do you think he pulled his liquidity? Because he was a liquidity provider, and the HEX was going down, and he was taking a hit.
I don't think so. I don't know. It's hard to get in the mind of him, but I'd imagine he was just over it and maybe wanted to get his assets back liquid more.
Yeah.
Hey
What about
guys,
you, Mando? Any idea?
sorry to jump in. I was driving when you guys was heading home when you guys were talking about how to see the end stakes and stuff like that. And I just got home and I logged into my computer, but that information, of course, I still need a little help to get into it.
No problem. Okay, you're gonna go to hex.vision.
Yes, I'm there right now.
Okay. And then
Guys, read out if you're not talking, please.
So go to hex.vision, and you're going to click on staking on the left there.
Staking. Click on staking. Okay, click on staking. Yeah.
And then it's going to pull up. It's going to pull up the different, you see all the different red candles. You see that one big red candle. If you hover over it, it'll show you the date, show you how many hex is end staking.
Sorry,
or off to
I'm
the
not
left
seeing the
of it,
big red
hold
candle.
click,
Sorry about that.
It'll highlight it and zoom
The
in.
big red candle is what I am. Okay, the big red candle. Okay, click on it, right? Okay.
No, you're going to not click on it. You're going to drag over it. You're going to start from the left and drag over it, and then it'll pop up the entire swatch of stakes.
You can drag click. So you can click and drag over it. It'll give you like the crosshairs, the cross. And then if you drag over it, it'll kind of highlight it, and that will zoom in, right? We haven't figured out a way to zoom out, but if you go up to the top right, there are also a calendar with dates. So you can click on the calendar and make it pretty specific. You can click on dates to have your beginning and end dates. Absolute is like the absolute date. If you do relative, it's kind of like Airbnb. It's like, 3 days from now, or kind of like setting it relative to the first date. And then you can press now to set it back to.
I see. Just drag on it from left to right. I guess I'm using, like, I don't use mouse. Well, I use mouse on laptop, but from left to right. Okay. Okay, I see the dates you're talking about. All right.
And then the dates are in the top right, and if you get too zoomed in, you can reset those dates.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think. Okay, I see. Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. That's solid. Thanks. Let me play with it. Appreciate it.
You're going to see many of these wallet addresses pull their liquidity in anticipation for the Pulsechain launch.
Okay.
Some are going to want to preserve their wealth by swapping into USDC.
When you guys are looking at the chart there, especially in the near term, don't get too freaked out if there's a lot of stakes ending, right? Because there's, a lot of people that are doing like weekly or monthly stakes, and so, it could be that every weekend.
Hi all, can I
I'm
jump in with
looking.
a question
I'm
quick?
looking at the. Oh, I was just going to say I'm looking at these end stakes before May 28th, all the way back to the 1st of January 2022. It was super thin. There was like hardly anybody end staking, and then you get to May 28th, and there's 1.83 billion stakes expiring on that day. Wow.
Yeah, I wonder when. What was 900 days ago? I'm gonna do the math. I wonder when Hex launched.
Once they end stake, they disappear from the chart, though. The only ones that are going to remain are the ones that never complete the end stake, the ones that forget about it or lose their keys or.
Yeah, 900 days ago was December 2019. Is that when Hex launched?
Yes, December 2nd.
Yeah, so those are all people putting in, like, 2-3 years, or well, like 2 years. So those are, if you think about it, someone's like, all right, I'm not going to gamble on a year, but let's try 2 years. So they're kind of timing it perfectly. Pulsechain's coming out too, so kind of wild.
Am I good to ask a question quick?
Yeah, 900 days is 2.5 years. Yeah, that's your question. Good.
I'm new to crypto. I've been on it for about 2 weeks. Listened to a voice from you lot. I just wondered, what's like, especially the OGs actually, what's like the one bit of key advice you'd give to yourself, like looking back when you started early days of crypto? So obviously I've only just started. What's one bit of key advice if you was to go back and give yourself knowledge back then? If you know what I mean.
Hold on. Hold everything you have.
I mean, there's a lot of things, right? But really, I think number one, it's like do your research, and I think what's so amazing about this ecosystem is Richard, and it's great to even do what you're doing here and kind of ask questions of the OGs that have been here before. I think it's important to heed their advice when they give it. It can be kind of difficult to do, but I think you also don't want to spend more than you're willing to lose, and the market will, when it flips against you, there's no propping up the market. So you really have to find good entry points and have a strategy and stick to it. Understand what you're getting invested in, understand how much capital you're allocating to it, understanding your time horizon and your risk tolerance, and be a part of the community and do your job to onboard other people, understanding that the price is always going to go up and down. That this product, Hex in general, is a very volatile product, but a lot of tokens are in the very beginning. And as you get more market adoption, that starts to level out. Case in point, Bitcoin and Ethereum. So the least liquidity, the more volatility, the more that the price can go up and down very harsh. And I think even, I'm pretty focused on the Richard Hart ecosystem. Just I do believe that the products that he's designing are, in fact, not only in line with what cryptocurrency was meant to be designed, how it was meant to be designed, a close representation to the first couple lines in Satoshi's white paper. You know, you just have to kind of be prepared for anything. I mean, even you look at, you know, the whole Luna ecosystem, like a lot of people were putting a lot of faith
Sorry,
into.
Mango. Sorry, I do apologize. I interrupt you. PulseX, can I DM you something, please?
You know, a lot of people put a lot of, like, even institutions put a lot of trust into that, but it was an experiment in algorithmic stablecoins, and it failed, and they just tried to revamp it today, and that failed. So, you know, you want to avoid the scams, and you want to avoid some of the maximalist thinking, and really kind of do your research in the underlying technology, right? And not just the founders or the image on top of the token. A lot of these tokens will just be duct tape tokens and not really serve much of a purpose. And that becomes the real greater fool's theory. So, you know, this is you found your way to this community, which is pretty great. I would continue to listen and figure out, you know, what your entry point is, and be prepared for the snapshot and get some exposure here, because at the end of the day, like, you want to have exposure, and you want to hold. And you know, trading is going to get you wrecked. These aren't products for trading. It's really about understanding your entry point and, you know, building your bag over time. One of the lessons that I just learned here was to always have dry powder ready. I had kind of shoved in around like the 10-12 cent range. So I'm looking for other things to sell at the moment too. But you know,
Yeah, I mean, I've only got a small investment. It's all I can afford, you know. But I'm going to hold, and I'm going to obviously I'm going to stake it for at least 2 years. That's the plan, and the plan is to buy Pulse with my monthly wage as it goes on.
Yeah, I mean, not financial advice, but smaller stakes out 2 years, right? If you've listened to PulseX talk about, you know, the gas fees and what it'll take to end stake that, it's kind of, depending on how much you're putting it in, it could kind of just eat up all your principal and gas. If I had a small bag right here, I would be personally waiting for Pulsechain, and I would wait to deploy that. I would wait for some of the volatility to kind of wash out on PulseX and Pulsechain, and I'd be going after those tokens. And/or if you're going to set a stake, I would just, a small stake, I would just set it on Pulsechain or HEX on Pulsechain. That's just kind of my personal take. Even on a large stake, didn't really do much.
The plan is to miss the ratio trading, obviously, because I'm very new. It's whether to buy after 48 hours or wait for the first dip. I'm not too sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, you know, crypto, right? It's always going to come back, right?
You're not talking.
HEX was at 4 or 5 cents a full year ago, and when people think, and it was smacking 50, 60, and people are like, oh, it'll never get back down there, it always comes back. It really is about having patience, having a strategy, and knowing your entry points. Because, like, you know, had I entered at 4 cents instead of 12 cents, that's solid 3x in, you know, however long it takes to get back up there. It could be, you know, the next like 2 weeks, whatever. So having dry powder, being ready for both scenarios, a bearish and a bullish scenario, and you know, understanding where your entry point is, and continue to accumulate and set out those stakes, or, you know, be delegating and have some liquid, and just kind of be ready for all scenarios. And by the way, I'm not an OG. I've been in crypto for about 18 months. I've been paying attention to crypto and blockchain, for probably since like 2015 full on. But I found my entry with NFTs, and then I've been able to rotate that capital over to these projects.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm looking at, being where a lot of you boys are in a couple of years. That's what I'm looking at. Yeah, well, I've got another question actually. What do you think is going to happen to? So, say if Richard said, "Oh, we're going to launch in 3 days," is the hex price going to shoot up? Is it going to skyrocket, or what?
I mean, it's all speculative, right? We all. I mean, I believe that narrative, and I think that a lot of people were kind of in, and then as soon as he said that wouldn't launch this month, which doesn't mean that it launch next month. People in this bear market were kind of tight holding, a risky asset, a volatile asset in a complete downturn for the whole macro situation anyway. So I think here we washed out a lot of those people that were potentially just holding to try to double their bags and dump. I think we did some pretty good spring cleaning, and it allowed some of the dedicated holders to buy in lower. And so I think all those people that might have taken their money back to the sideline, that's normally the way it works. It's normally like, oh wow, it's tanking. Of course, I was right, and then it blows past where they exited, and then they're chasing, and then they're pushing the price up for all of us that were able to understand our entry points and didn't have that much of the fear, but also understood what we're holding. So yeah, I do expect it to go up, but it just smacked 4 cents. So like even from 4 cents to back to 20 cents is a 5x. So I think we see it around 20 cents.
Mango, sorry, can I take the floor for 1 second?
Good.
Just 1 second. Lang, you here?
Yes.
CryptoSafe, he's saying that he's been banned probably by accident by Mandalorian. I don't know what's happened, but he's asking if you can unban him. He was talking to him about Hex Vision, and then he's about to ask another question, and he's get banned from the whole chat. I don't know. He just asked me to talk to an admin, so I do it.
Okay, I'll look into that and see what the issue was.
All right, cool. Can he DM you?
For what?
Sorry?
I'll look into it. I'll get back to you.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for that, Mango.
Thank you, Mango, to let me in. Thanks, man.
Gully, you're all set up with security. You have hardware wallet and all that.
My presence hopefully coming Monday. And from what I understand, Papa's the best man to go to set it up. I've got his YouTube links already, so.
Yeah, man. Crypto's not banned in this chat. You could come in.
No, but he's been kicked out from the main Pulse chat. He cannot join that, man. That's what he's saying to me.
We're in the main Pulse chat. I don't see him as a banned user.
Oh shit. So maybe better if he can DM you and you can talk to him.
Sure, I could.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
But he can enter the chat whenever he wants.
All right. Cool.
Jason Momoa. What if you could use retirement accounts to invest in crypto? With I Trust Capital, you can.
Rhino, please mute your mic.
Hey there, folks.
Oh,
It's
sure.
Wayne with
1
Windows
second.
10 update.
Hey, Rattle Chaser.
What up?
Hey, I was talking to Jakinator. This is Kinetics. I was talking to Jakinator a couple weeks ago. He said we're neighbors, but I'm always down in PQ. We got family down there, and I don't know if you know where that is, but I live about an hour from there.
PQ, what's Rancho Penasquitos?
Fully doxed, I guess. Yes.
So nobody's gonna. Okay. Yeah, I'm in PL. What that is?
No.
I'm in Point Loma.
How far?
I'm
How
actually
many
in
minutes?
I'm actually in Carlsbad right now.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. I live about an hour north of there, but I'm always down in that area. So maybe we should link up one of these days for lunch or something.
Heck yeah, that'd be great. What's your handle on Telegram?
It's Kinetics.
Oh, I
I'll
see it
shoot
right
you a
there.
DM right now so you have me.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
I wish I'd known about freaking this thing we've been discussing over the last 15 or 20 minutes with Hex Vision, and God, if I saw that freaking huge May 28th end stake, and I just got in like April, late March, early April, I definitely would have that definitely had me strategize slightly different. I mean, I got 13 cents cost basis, but yeah, and when it came to 4 cents the other night, I didn't have any dry powder, so that was a little bit of a bummer. Oh well.
Oh man. Yeah, I had some limit orders that were filled. Luckily, I placed them a while back, but I just jumped on the call, so I didn't hear anything about the Hex Vision. But yeah, you can see the end stakes, and that certainly affects the price.
Yeah, like before May 28th, you can see all the end stakes, and they're just these small on the graph. I'll just say they're a red candle, even though it's not a charting graph, but it looks like a red candle. And so prior to that, from the very beginning, prior to that, is there's all these small little red candles, and then you get to May 28th, and there's like a freaking jumbotron size end stake candle, and then for the next month, it's yeah, oh well, that's all right. I'm fortunate. I can always use that tool in the future, and maybe we'll get more opportunity here in the near future.
Yeah, your average cost in is pretty good still. And we're almost at 8 cents today, so
Yeah, imagine freaking that would be stoked if I put the same amount of USD and I'd known that. Freaking I'd be like flying high. It's all about perspective, right? Perspective and education. Like knowledge is power. And so many people, I'm just so glad I found this community.
yeah, the same guy that onboarded me, he's kind of like a day one Hexagon, and he onboarded a bunch of people at 45, 46 cents. They've been kind of averaging in, when the with the dips and stuff, but they're still probably in the 20, 30 cent range on average. So 13 is not bad. I mean, I bought in the 20s, 19, 18, 13, so I'm probably right where you are in terms of average, but I bought a bunch in the 4.5, 5, 6.5. A lot of my orders got filled, luckily.
Yeah, so yeah, that it just makes it so like you can spend just a fraction of what you've spent to that point and get the same amount. So yeah, I'm really hoping it comes back there, and I have a couple loans that closed. I do home loans, and then that would be nice.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people in this chat. I don't know right now, but there's a bunch of people that come in here that believe there's gonna be another big dip. So I mean, because Bitcoin hasn't really bottomed out, total market cap for crypto hasn't fallen below the 1 million mark, and so there's a lot of guys that come on here do TA that you've probably heard that believe we're still we still have some opportunities to buy in at below 4 cents. So we'll see.
Time will tell. That's for sure.
Are you seeing any changes in the loan market? And that's with the interest rates. Is that affecting things?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I switched over to doing reverses. So I've been doing this for 20 plus years, and I've never built a. I've always just bought leads and done refis, and I've never developed like a referral business because I haven't needed to. And my refi business is as a market, as an aggregate market wide. The refis, the rate and terms, that's just where you refinance to get a lower payment. You're not pulling any equity out to consolidate debt or whatever on improvements. And then you have refis where people are pulling equity out to do that. That market, the refi market's dropped by 2/3 because the rates have gone up, and so there's only debt consolidate or pulling cash out refis that are available. So all the rate and terms are gone. About 30% total volume in refis. The purchase market is still kicking ass. But it's just crazy the freaking out. So I'm here in San Diego County, and freaking me and my girlfriend. Hello, not my ex. Hopefully that's not a Freudian slip. We get along well. but we went looking at properties, and we were looking at some of these properties. The freaking appreciation in real estate in San Diego. Like we were looking at properties, and I looked on Zillow to see what they were priced out last year. Like 1.5 million last year, 2.25, 2.35. This year, that's like a freaking 35% increase year over year for real estate. So that's, thanks to all the freaking, what's the opposite of buy and burn? That's all because of all the inflation of the monetary supply. So I've switched over to reverses. And the good thing about reverses is that there's some nice margins on reverses.
Wow. Yeah, I've been watching, pretty closely in the Orange County area, and seeing the same appreciation year over year or close to it in certain counties. And just in the last month or two, I'm starting to see prices reduced, not significantly, but you'll see a $50,000 drop, or you'll see a home on the market for 150, 200 days. You'll see prices kind of drop by 100,000 on some properties in the 1.5 million range. So I don't think the market's going to crash, but it certainly needs to correct itself for the interest rates that are going to continue to go up. And the announcements that are being made, and where things are headed, I mean, sure, they can print more money, but if people are paying more for their loans, I mean, how are sellers expecting to continue to extract that kind of value out of their homes? I mean, at some point it's going to have to plateau or correct a little bit, I would imagine.
What is the percentage of home ownership and commercial property ownership with investment firms now compared to the last big fall in 08-09? I've heard it's 50% higher, and that will help hedge against a drastic drop. That's what I heard anyway.
Yeah, and then the government always backstops. I mean, these are two of the largest industries, on earth, United States real estate. So the government backstops it. Plus, there's no more, since 2008 when people they didn't need to verify their income or their assets. So that's all gone. So that's a backstop, right? Where people actually had to prove their income. Now and the job market is healthy. So I think a 10 to 20% correction in the real estate market would be realistic?
Which is still like 15% increase year over year.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point. Life is good because that's unprecedented. I think the shift in ownership from institutional, entities and buyers. Plus, a lot of the sellers that were able to get, 100%, return on investment over a few years time, they were able to spend more to get into, bigger homes with home offices and stuff like that too. So I think there's some just weird dynamics going on where, it's not just people that have, that are getting approved for these big loans because they have great jobs, because, it's really hard to measure how good and how healthy the job market really is at this point. Just looking at numbers maybe, but when you talk to people, there's still a lot of people struggling right now.
True. Yeah, I just paying like almost $7 a gallon for gas. That is freaking nuts. And the last administration, well, it dropped, and that was because of COVID. But it dropped to $2 and less than $2.30 a gallon. So it's definitely hurting a lot of people who are living from paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, I mean, even Life is Good could probably talk to this better than I can, but I know, one of the things that has seen the highest increase in prices are, automobiles, new and used. And I know our grocery bills, I mean, we got 2 small kids, everything's gone up, it's just, it's crazy.
I was just talking with an ex-girlfriend this morning, and she asked me why I went into a Toyota store and the price was $8,000 over the factory sticker, and I said, well, everybody's selling about 1/3 to 1/2 of the cars we used to, but the expense didn't change that much. We have no choice right now. The interesting thing is the factory has not raised MSRPs, but a couple percent.
I license technology into the automotive industry through one of the biggest integrators of technology in the world, and their volumes have dropped just because of component shortages. The taxes and the tariffs with certain countries and suppliers of those components, and so lots of things were on hold, and then COVID kind of brought everybody into their homes and shut offices down. So the automotive industry has seen a reduction in production of vehicles, and it all stems from first the tariffs and China, obviously the tensions there, but also component shortages for semiconductors and SoCs. So we're seeing volume reductions on that side of things, on the manufacturing side, because we integrate into the dash board systems and the amplifiers and stuff like that too. So it trickles down.
Hello. Hi, Kinetic.
Yep.
Can I ask a question?
Shoot.
Sorry, interrupting.
We're just
go ahead. Go ask your question.
Yeah. Hey, I tried to use Matcha, right? This is the first time, and I did the limit order. I make sure I got Ethereum in it, and they say connect and confirm the transaction. I put the limit buy and try to set it, but then when it take to the connect to the wallet and it say connect again, and when I connect, it won't confirm the transaction.
So wait, so the first thing you do is you log into MetaMask. Are you using a
Right.
hardware wallet?
No, actually, I using on a MetaMask on the computer. I
And
didn't link this.
You do
A
not have a
small.
hardware wallet?
I do have it, but this I just did a beta test on this one.
So what I usually do, because I only use hardware wallets, but it should be the same thing, is you go to MetaMask, you log in, and then when you go to Matcha or
Right.
Matcha.xyz, On the top right, it'll ask you to connect wallet. And then when you hit that, you have to go back to MetaMask and confirm
Yeah,
and give
that's what I did.
access.
It said connect wallet to proceed, right? So I tried because since I did on the computer, it's just a small amount. I just do a beta test, but then it connect, but a circle. Then when I go back on the trading again, it was asked. Maybe I, like you say, maybe try to set it up on the just link to the hardware, the Nano S ledger, you know. But
What was the
this
what was the error message you were getting?
like actually it was no error. It's like I make sure because I was holding in USDC, and plus I make sure I have some Ethereum because they want to confirm it's a 0.01 Ethereum, right? Then when I did a trade, and it's on Hex, you know, then I put a limit order. Man, I missed that dip, a good dip on 5 cents like that. And yesterday, the same crap, you know. But usually I go in there, and if I have problem and I'm in a hurry, and I just do a swap, you know. And a swap is charged a little more, you know. But this is just like I'm just trying to get familiar with this platform here with the Matcha XYZ. You know, people talk a lot about it, and I never get a chance to try it out. But then when I hit the review, like it said market and limit, right? And I put limit, then I set it. I put even expiration 7 day, and I just let the market come in, you know, just change it. But then when I hit review limit order, it would, when I hit the review limit order, it would take me right to the connects MetaMask. And like you say, it probably usually asks you connect to a hardware, right? So that's what I did. When I hit the connect MetaMask on the side, it didn't come up. It didn't say like confirm or anything, you know? Maybe I have an old computer, you think?
No, sometimes what happens with me is if I'm in MetaMask, if I go back to MetaMask, I've got to actually click on the extension on the top of the top and open up the extension, and that's where I confirm, because it won't show up in my big browser window when I'm in MetaMask. I have to click on the extension, the little puzzle piece, and then it asks me in there, and that gives me the option to confirm it. I always have to do that.
Yeah.
In Chrome.
Yeah, and this one I hit on the extension, then it'll take me right to my assets, you know, and it didn't
Yeah, that's
show.
weird. It should show like a little. It should show a little
Right,
blue
and
circle with a
this not
one
the
showing me.
this is not the first time I'm using MetaMask. I mean, I used many times, and before that, it was confirm. I go right through it, no problem. But I don't know. Maybe from my computer so old, you know. So
yeah, listen. When in doubt, right? You have to log out and lock the MetaMask and restart your browser. Like if you ever going in between, like there's a bunch of things that are trying to connect, right? Like your browser, your MetaMask, and if those things get thrown off, the best thing to do, like anything, is just restarting. And if you are on an old computer, like sometimes even like it usually happens to me if I'm switching in between like hardware wallets, you know.
I think that's what
they're all communicating better now. But when in doubt, just log out and log back in.
Okay. Yeah, I'm that I'm just try do on the leisure, you know. But it's just quick, and I just do some beta tests right now and see. Man, yesterday I could have freaking. I was waiting and waiting, spinning, and like so you missed that dip, you know, and then it bounced, you know. So, but man, who've been dumping from freaking whales? So it was like, I think it was you know,
yeah. Dips are a part of the game, man. Part of the game.
Yeah. I'm freaking like whale, man. It's like I was like, what the heck? I know that I stake mine like a lot of them. I stake like 15 years, you know. But I bought it like I was listening to you, and I got in and when 20 cent, 18 cent, 25, like that, you know, like almost like mid range. And I thought, oh man, I got a really good price, and it got down to 7 cent, and You know, like I think about 4 or 5 months ago. And then with 5, I think that's the lowest this week, right? You think it's the lowest this week this year? It dipped down that low.
It touched below 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Drops
I'm
below 90-95% are very rare.
Yeah, that's odd because I look at like 80% something. I was like, okay, and the guy, you listen, what is it, Lausanne, man, I can't freaking, what's that, Lausanne, freaking like man, I don't know, but Lausanne, Rosanzo, something like that, you know, the Spanish, he was doing, I think he was on and Alexander Lorenzo or something. You know what I'm talking about? He went this week. He say, "Oh, I'm not going to
Captain
freaking mind it."
Mango, can I
Yeah.
ask you a question about the Pulsechain launch? The first 2 days when not public, I heard Richard Hart said that we can play with the Pulse and PulseX. We can change one for another. Is that only with PulseX and Pulse, or is it also possible, for example, to make a swap with your with your hex on the Pulse chain, and you change it for the Pulse or for the PulseX?
So pre-bridge, there will be an arbitrage opportunity through ratio trading, which is all above my pay grade, right? I will not be doing any of that. I don't think, unless I'm in this chat where, and not to go on a side tangent, but this chat, this community is one of the most intelligent, fringe, niche communities you're going to find, right? On average, right now, there's only 69 people. Maybe we get up to 120 people, but the people like ProFax, the people that come in that actually understand math, right? And understand and have spreadsheets. Like if you've ever gone to ProFax's account here, I don't know if he's in here, but you can click on, next time he's in here, click on his name and click on the link that's, you're not supposed to click links, but he has a link in his profile to his different spreadsheets and stuff. Like those are the types of people that I'm going to listen to and maybe, do some sort of ratio trading, but you really need to understand math, and like you need to have your own sort of, spreadsheet calculators to even be participating in that. Otherwise, like you're not really going to know what you're doing. There will be other tokens there, but they're not going to have liquidity. So Richard, has talked about it too. Like, some people think that the best thing to hold going into Pulse is going to be HEX because that's where the majority of the liquidity is going to be on the other side. And it's, where we're going to add liquidity to get that value, right? That bot's going to go in there and start to move things around. And who knows, HEX might quickly get to pair where a lot of these other tokens won't. So you will have an opportunity to, trade pre-bridge. But until, the liquidity comes in and gets added to those other tokens, I don't think that they're going to move off zero too quick. So does that answer your question?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes. What I wanted to know is if it's also possible with the HEX on the Pulse chain, but you give me an answer.
Yeah,
I heard
so
a lot of times on the community that it's not smart to do something on the pre-bridge, but I was curious.
Yeah, listen, if I'm in here and if there's insane swings and everyone and ProFax is doing the math and he's like, wow, you're getting this type of ratio, maybe. I mean, personally, like I was lucky enough to sacrifice, and I do have a pretty good allocation across the board that I'm comfortable with. So I would rather just bridge in fresh capital and buy stuff on a dip and kind of at least kind of like try to wrap my mind around the volatility and figure out what my entry point is. But that will probably take me a month to figure out and kind of see where the volume's coming from.
Okay, okay. Thanks for answering question.
Question here. The last week and with the problem with the Terra Luna thing, with the algorithmic stable coin line, you think is any similarity like with PulseX Pulsechain stuff like that? PulseX, since
zero
no,
correlation.
yeah. Yeah, a lot of people, because with all this passive income stuff, with DeFi, and since Luna kind of messed it up everything, I'm glad I took profit. But man, I left like about 300 tokens. With that.
Yeah, but you have to understand, right? Like sure, Anchor was an ability to sit there and get a 20% APY, right? But like what the tokenomics and like what type of leverage were they setting up in order to create that type of peg? There's no stable coins in this ecosystem, in Richard Hart's
Right.
ecosystem. Like
Right.
we're not trying to peg to $1, give the value. It's like Hex started at 0. Pulse, these are all starting at 0.
Right.
And so and the value is being brought there by us and us giving that value. But yeah, it's difficult. That was a real experiment, and a lot of people had a lot of money. Even all the major exchanges. Really smart people like Mike Novogratz, right? Like people had billions. Binance had 1 point something billion in there. So you have to be careful of these like overzealous founders and listen to what they say, even though Richard can really be out there. But Richard's doing this for all the right reasons, and like for the most part, he's always protected people from these types of situations, right? Like
Rumors like he said his own stable coin.
No, I mean he will, but he has his own way of doing it, right? And I think again, like Richard's pretty fucking damn calculated, and he watched Bitcoin, go for a little less than 10 years before he made Hex. He watched, Ethereum go for 7 years before he decided to fork it and do his own thing. Like this is what software development is all about. Like you take from the experiments before you, and you iterate and you update and you make them better, and that's what he's been doing. So there's been multiple tries at stablecoins, algorithmic stablecoins, that have completely failed. I think it's probably setting up the U.S. government and these governments to implement their own tokens, and because if that ever happened to the U.S. government, they would just pump money into it and repeg it, and that's probably what they're going to want to do eventually. I mean, we're moving more towards stables and banks, and that's going to be its own kind of siloed, centralized, crypto DeFi, and then there's going to be a line in the sand where there's products like this that are more decentralized, and have some sort of crossing over. But as soon as we get our own on-ramp, off-ramps for fiat, like we don't really have to touch much of those products. And I'm sure Richard will design stable at some point. I think the wallet comes first, and when he has the time to really wrap his mind around it. And there's not like a ton of pressure on him to do it either, so volatility's in the game, price action's in the game. And if you're in Hex, you buy it and you stake it, and that's the way that it's designed. Also, there's not really any way for anyone malicious to come in and like short Hex. You know, it's like if any of these big bag holders wanted to drive the price down, like there's these other whales that are way in front of them with millions of tokens. Even in the way that the sacrifice was set up, right? Or the reason that the OA has these huge centralized bags to protect us from stuff like that. So when you don't have these, you know, nefarious individuals that have their own agendas coming in and buying up a bunch of your token and driving it down. I mean, the thing about Luna is it needed to stay stable and it needed to continue to go up. And that just doesn't happen in crypto. Like things get tested. Everything gets tested in crypto. You know, especially with the whole macro situation we're seeing right now. Like Bitcoin and crypto, it's never really been through a macro bear market. And this is a pretty heavy one and it's holding up pretty good. So, you know, all things considered, things are looking pretty bullish. Now, is there still another leg down? Potentially, you know. I don't think we've really, if you look at like the monthly charts on Ethereum and compare it to what happened in 2017, like, you know, like there was like 7 to like 11 down months. I don't think we're there with this. I think that there's a lot of market adoption and, you know, I think, you know, that was 5 years ago. So the fact that all these institutions are sort of backstopping this and they're probably starting to put in their bids at certain places, they're going to drive it down to their bids, but you know they're also hedging with the headlines and saying that they're, you know, warming up to it, and SEC says they probably should have regulated it better and some things, and you know the adoption's coming and luxury brands are opening up payment systems and the rails are being built, you know the underlying tech is evolving, especially with what's happened with Pulsechain. Like I think that this is really going to usher in, you know, the next wave, products like this, and a lot of these other L1s, you know, are going to have a difficult time rebounding if their tech's not good. Like Solana's down all the time. How is that going to be a payment rail system to compete with Visa? You know, it's like it's just not. So I'm really interested to see, and that's why we need to be patient with Richard and allow him to you know, allow his devs to do the necessary work so that we don't have hiccups in a year, because there's a lot of people that are waiting to say, I told you so. But, you know, I'm in this camp. So I like to go against the narrative and against the grain. And that's where the most money is made.
Yeah, it's funny because, you know, some of these haters that hate on Richard, you know, they kind of talk about us too. I mean, they talk about how stupid we are as followers and how, you know, they want the whole thing to come crashing down on us because we're such idiots. And, you know, so we're looped into that as well. And I think, you know, it's one thing to tell Richard, oh, you can't do this, because he's going to go out and do it. But to tell like one of the smartest communities in crypto that they're idiots, that just goes to show they haven't done their homework, you know, and they're just married to these concepts that they've you know, researched and stuff about, you know, Bitcoin and Ethereum, and it's so singular. I mean, they're so one dimensional. I mean, it just drives us as a community to want this to be successful even more, and make sure that we launch, just have a totally seamless launch. You know, we have no downtime, and we prove all these haters wrong.
It's just outright lazy, right? It's just like, okay, my bags are packed. I bought my Bitcoin however long ago, and it's like, all right, good for you. But unless you're looking under the hood, you know, I don't know. It's ridiculous. And the thing is too, like that's how FOMO is actually. I think that's like the real leverage point for FOMO, right? What does FOMO stand for? Fear of missing out. Now, for people that want to protect their bags, like I watched this happen with our NFTs, right? Like last year, this time, the crypto punks were the hot thing, and everyone was like, "These are amazing. These things are, you know, creating these all new time highs." They had their first last May around this time. They had a sale at you know Christie's and things like that, and I just knew that one, the first thing that comes out isn't going to be the only show in town. And tell that to Napster and Netscape, right? And or even Microsoft for that matter. And so, when our crew, the Board of Yako, came out, I was really loud and vocal and being like, look, the CryptoPunks are from 2017. Like, that was a completely different generation. We're from 2021. And there's a ton of momentum behind us. And so we grinded and rode the adoption wave, but we were something new. And that sort of ability to rub up and create friction with the whoever's sitting on top, that's how you can climb to the top, right? That's when Richard's creating friction with the Bitcoin maxis, with everybody else, like that friction creates electricity, and you put that electricity into a battery that can actually, absorb that energy, and you're gonna be able to run for a pretty long time. And the fear of missing out, right? The people that get behind in the beginning, like they're the ones that get rewarded. The fear of missing out comes from the gen pop that doesn't know what they're talking about and are just following people. And also from those individuals who have been trying to belittle it. They're watching the price action every day, right? And they feel good about when it's down. But when it starts to rip, they feel that FOMO and they're like, damn, I should have bought it when it was down there. And secretly they're piling in too. Like Richard talks about how a lot of the guys that sacrifice, like they missed Hex, but they're not missing his second project. Like they watched what the first one did, and they might be poo-pooing it, but for their viewership or whatever. But I'll tell you what, they're definitely buying in the background. And a lot of the times too, when people FUD stuff, like they're just trying to get the price lower if they have the influence. Like you can change the public narrative quite easily out there. But that's for the people that don't know how to do the research and look under the hood. And those individuals are always the plebes that are going to get wrecked anyway. So, just got to get your position in early.
Yeah, that's why I think Eric Wall actually did either sacrifice or has something, because he, I watched the interview with him, I don't know, years ago with Hex, and he had to admit that he was wrong, and and this whole thing, and they had kind of a mutual respect for one another at that point. And so for him to miss this, it would just be, it would just be pure stupidity, because you make a good point about friction and disruption, but none of that matters if you don't have the actual product to back it up, right? You can create friction and just make noise, and you'll just get ignored if you don't have anything that's viable. But when you have something that's a threat, then, oh man, then all the guns come out, and you start seeing, and that's what we are. We're a huge threat to, a lot of folks out there that are talking about, oh, Bitcoin it's the store value, it's the digital gold, it's the wheel, it's oil, it's and they're just, it's like, it's everything, it solves everything, it was the first, and lightning is gonna, it's all gonna be then. Nobody's gonna buy Hex, nobody's gonna buy Pulse, they're always gonna buy Bitcoin. And like you said, these life cycles of these companies and these products is shortening over time, right? You see these companies that have been around for 4 or 5 decades that are just poof, gone, right? Nokia, biggest cell phone manufacturer in the world, 70% market share, gone in less than 2 years. There's no loyalty to brands anymore. There's no loyalty to people. You can have some beloved celebrity who's just, makes us one move, and the next day they're the butt of every joke. So it's not about popularity or any of that. It's having a viable product with good utility, with good, return that performs well. And all of these, Hex has been a very high performing asset consistently. And these people are just hating on it, and they're hating on us, which is like, it's nice to have, when you have enemies, you're doing something right. When you've got haters, you're doing something right.
The Gandhi quote, right? First they hate on you, then they laugh at you, then they join you. And you're totally right. It's like, it's the it's all everything in crypto is a narrative, right? It's the salesman, and it's wild too, because it's like, before I met Richard, before I met this project, and I'll be honest, like I've been scammed once or twice. The best time I ever got scammed, and just give me a second here. I was actually at a gas station, right? And it's this common scam where it's called a white van scam, where they'll approach you and they'll sell you on some stuff they have in your van. I was lucky to have grown up in one of the top zip codes in America, so like, I was having a good day. I was at a gas station where like these things never really happen, and I got sold a narrative. I got sold a script that like was like, oh, blah, blah, boom, boom, boom. Here's this. He said that he was at one of these houses, right? He had all this tech stuff. It was like he had drones, he had screens, and I was kind of looking at it, and I'm a great collector. I normally Google things, and it was this whole narrative spin on things where I ended up buying like $600 worth of electronics, this like pull down screen, a projector, things that I just kind of wanted and knew the value of, but like didn't really research the brand, right? I get home and it was just like complete Chinese garbage bullshit. And I was like, wow, like I totally just got scammed. And I started to like look into it more. The times that you get scammed into things is when you're being overzealous and you're being greedy, right? Like greed will be the downfall of every decision that you make, and it's a hard lesson to really learn. But I say all that to say, like, people always call Richard and this project a scam, or said that in the beginning the way that he kind of marketed was scam oriented, and by actually spending the thousands of hours on these projects and doing the research, you can see that that's just not true. Now on the surface, a lot of people are going to kind of listen and hear those words and be a little bit deterred, but if you have any knowledge of how this works, and you really should be researching everything, how the blockchain works, and not just listening to anybody, even just in this chat. I mean, it's obvious that when you look under the hood, that this engine is ready to purr. And like these other, right? So the narratives, right? So you have to be conscious of the narratives that are floating out there. And if you're just not doing the research and you're just believing narratives, and you're just like, oh, Bitcoin's going to be able to do this, Lightning Network, and strike this, and oh, Salvador's buying, and oh, Sailor's buying, and Elon's buying, right? Oh, Elon's going to pump this to the moon. Oh, Elon's doing Doge merch for fucking Tesla. It's like, if that's the way that you're going to buy stuff, and if you're early, if you're talking to like a relative and they're just consuming crypto through CNBC, right? Like those are the people that are going to get wrecked, and they're getting sloshed around and getting worked by the shitty tokens that are being put on Coinbase or these exchanges, and they're just trading the fees on it, and they're getting rich, right? Like, or NFTs, like that's all just propped up by these VCs that own these platforms like OpenSea, and they're taking 2.5% of all the trash that's trading around daily. But all like the NFT volume, it's down to like 30 million a month. I mean, it was up there in the billions like last year. So a lot of those narratives and things are changing, right? Like people get smarter, and FOMO comes from people that have the fear of missing out first, and then they just shove into things and then do the research later, probably when they're buying the tops, right? But that's why it's like, all right, like if you do that once or twice, fine, you learn your lesson, things will go back up, DCA in and get a better, average cost price. But everything that I've seen here, it checks the boxes, and I think when people start to really do the research, there's going to be no reason why they don't have exposure here. And if they don't have exposure, they're definitely going to be buying it, and hopefully it's not too late. And for us being here first, like we're going to get those multiples because they've finally come around, where it's not just about some shitty narrative. It's like, hey, look, we're building real tech here, and real software, and real products that are immutable, don't have the admin keys. And it's going to be interesting when people get all their tokens over here and realize their tokens are broken and don't work because they need these certain components of Ethereum, or they have admin keys, and people are going to then have to have that decision with themselves, like, why am I in this product that is limiting me from having full custody or full sovereignty in this new ecosystem. So yeah, you got to fade the narratives and think of the opposite side of it, and try to see who's feeding you that narrative, because a lot of the times it's just gonna be smoke and mirrors. I'm also super bullish for June. I think Richard was, I don't know how calculated he is in his words. I mean, he's a very smart guy. So in his tweet, he said that it wouldn't be launching this month, right? So I think June is still on the table. And yeah, I think June is still looking pretty good. Like the RSI and the money flow seems to be like coming back in, and I would be pleasantly surprised if we don't launch between June 1st and like July 15th. I think that is reasonable.